Hello and good afternoon, everyone. For the final time here in 2018, we bring you another presentation of Xenia Scouts Baseball here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network, the season finale for both the Richmond Jazz and your Xenia Scouts. Alongside Riley Harshman, I'm Charlie Danis. Well, Riley, final game of the 2018 season. It seems though we blinked, and we have suddenly gotten to this last game here in the latter month of July here. It's been a disappointing season from a win-loss perspective for the Scouts, but hey, it's been a fun season for them. They have grown not only as players, but also as men of God, and hopefully today they can get a win.
Yeah, they would love to end the summer on a high note. Each and every one of these guys came in one person. They're leaving a completely different person and player, and that's exactly what this summer was about for them.
So, the leadoff man for Richmond, Tommy Bell, will step into the right-handed batter's box as Owen Pyatt will go to work, and Bell with a bunt up the third base line, and it will stay fair. And that will be a bunt signal right off the bat for Tommy Bell, the Jazz shortstop. The Richmond starting lineup looks like this. Bell, the shortstop, we just got that base hit a moment ago, will lead off. Nolan Young, the left fielder, will bat second. Bill Kroll, the first baseman, will bat third. Jackson Blevins, the right fielder, will bat fourth. Damon Maynard, the catcher, will bat fifth. Jared Kengott, the center fielder, will bat sixth. Riley Bertram at third. And in the seventh hole, Austin Turner, the second baseman, bats eighth. And DeAndre Davis, the designated hitter, will bat ninth. Here's a fly ball. That's a right field. Under it is Carson Wright. He'll make the catch. That is the first out. So on the mound today is Owen Pyatt. Pyatt originally was a relief pitcher for the Scouts, but today he is getting his first start in a Scouts uniform out there on the mound. Comes in with an earned run average of 10.35. This is his 11th game in which he has appeared. In 20 innings, he has struck out 25 and walked 18. Runner going, throw down to second, and it is not in time, as that'll be a stolen base for Tommy Bell. It's a one-ball, no-strike count on Bill Kroll. Pyatt has been sensational his last four games. In his last four appearances, no runs, 2 hits. He has a save, and he has struck out, let's see here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 batters as opposed to only 2 walks. In other words, he's been pitching mighty fine whenever he takes the mound for the Scouts. And, Riley, they're looking for the same results here, Xenia is.
Yeah, they would love to see Pyatt go as long as he can go, and he's just been very good. It's all started with his fastball command. Once he has been able to locate that fastball, every other pitch has fallen into place, and he's just been pitching at a very high level.
Pyatt with a pitch, and here's a fly ball out to center field, and under it is Murray. That's the second out of the inning. So now Jackson Blevins will come to the plate. He had a solo homer last night as the Jazz were able to defeat Xenia by a final of 2-1. It was a walk-off win for the Jazz. Providing that walk-off hit was Jarrett Wolf, who drove in Blevins with the winning hit. So Blevins will now bat from the left side against the right-handed throwing Owen Pyatt. Pitches outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. A quick look at the Scouts' defense to start off the day. Welch in left field, Murray in center, Wright in right field, Eater at third, Tuttle at short, Bacon at second, Borelson at first, King behind the plate, and Pyatt, the aforementioned right-hander, out there on the mound. Now the count is 2-0 on Jackson Blevins. Bell is sitting over there at second. Jazz have decided to go with their navy blue tops and their gray pants. High-vis numbers, light green, light yellow, depending upon how you look at it. Scouts, meanwhile, white pants, camouflage hats, camouflage tops. The pitch. Outside. 3 balls, no strikes. On Blevins. Damon Maynard waiting on deck for Richmond. Cloudy skies overhead, but no rain in the forecast. As that pitch is down low, and that'll be a walk for Blevins. So Damon Maynard will now come to the plate. Maynard, 250 batter, no homers and 2 knocked in. He's got runners at first and second here. 2 out in the top half of the first in the final game of the 2018 season for both these ball clubs. The pitch. Man is on the outside corner for a called strike. Well, these two teams are not going to be making the playoffs this year. Richmond 15-26 entering play today. Meanwhile, Xenia 10-31. Here's the pitch from Pyatt. This will be a grounder out to short. Tuttle up with it. He'll go the short way to second, and that will be the final out of the inning. Jazz nothing. Scouts coming to bat in the bottom half of the first here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. We head now to the bottom half of the first here at Grady's Field. Richmond nothing. Xenia coming to bat for the first time. Let's give you the final starting lineup for the Scouts here in 2018. It looks like this. Cam Murray will lead off and he'll play in center field. Carson Wright, the right fielder, will bat second. Caleb Eater will be over at third base. He'll bat third. Luke Boylston, the first baseman, he'll bat fourth. Ryan Bertelsman, the designated hitter, will bat fifth. Graham Welch, the left fielder, will bat sixth. Nick Tuttle, the shortstop, will bat seventh. Zach Bacon, the second baseman, will bat eighth. And Felix King, the catcher, he will bat ninth for the Scouts. On the mound today for the Jazz, making his final start of the 2018 season and the final game of the 2018 season for these two ball clubs, it's Nathan Flannery. Flannery, a 5'10", 175-pound right-hander out of Richmond, Indiana, plays his college ball at Earlham College. He's a first game that he has started in 21 and the third innings pitched, he has struck out 14, and he has walked 17. So the first batter that he will see is Cam Murray here on an overcast day. These Scouts would like nothing more than to get a win in their final game with each other. It's been a tough year for Xenia. There was a stretch where Xenia lost 22 or 23 games, as a matter of fact. Something that no ball club should have to experience at any level. As Flannery winds and deals, and here is a fly ball that is ticketed for the left center field gap. This is going to be extra bases for Cam. He is rolling around second, and now he will stop at second. A leadoff double for Cam Murray.
What a way to start out the last game of the season. Cam Murray's been a great leadoff hitter for the Scouts all year, and right there promptly sending a double out to left center field gap. Good start for the Scouts offense.
So an early RBI opportunity for Carson Wright. Wright batting from the left side today. Comes in here batting .216. No homers and 11 knocked in. Looking for RBI number 12 in this spot. The pitch. Wright swings and foul tips it into the catcher's mitt. 0-1 the count. A look at the Jazz defense now. Maynard behind the plate. Krul at first. Turner at second. Bell at short. Bertram at third. Young is the left fielder. Ken Gott in center. Blevins in right field. And Flannery, the right-hander, on the mound for the Jazz as that pitch is in there for a strike. And Wright now finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Now, of course, we'll get you updated with scores throughout the day because there's still two divisions to decide as the ball gets away from the catcher Maynard. And Cam Murray's able to go to third on the play. Looked like a cross-up of some sorts between Flannery and Maynard. But Murray will certainly take it as he now stands 90 feet away from scoring. Southern Division, Northern Division. In the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League, still up for grabs here on the final day of the season in the Southern Division. Southern Ohio is a half-game lead over Cincinnati. In the Northern Division, St. Clair leads Lima by 1 game. As this will be a grounder foul up the first base line. Here's what the scoreboard looks like at the moment. Let's see here. St. Clair does not play until later on tonight at 7:05. Southern Ohio. Well, their game should be over by now, but right now I'm not seeing a score with that affair, so we'll have to look that up at some point to see if Southern Ohio was able to beat Licking County earlier today. Game was originally supposed to start at 1:05 as the pitches hop by for a ball, 2-2 the count. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, they will not be playing their game until later on tonight when they go to Hamilton to take on the Joes. 7:05 first pitch in that one. And here is a high pop-up. Settling into foul territory is the third baseman, Bertram. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. So now Caleb Eater will come to the plate. 307 batter, a homer, 9 knocked in, qualified earlier this year as a pitcher for the 2018 Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League All-Star Game. Flannery winds and throws. That's outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Eater looking to give the Scouts an early 1-0 lead. His main job right here, Riley, is just to put the ball in play.
Put the ball in play anywhere. Most infield playing deep, so Grounder could probably score Camry from third.
1-0 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike to the Indiana Wesleyan product, Caleb Eater. Flannery, meanwhile, with the 1-1. Eater swings and misses at that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The runner at third is Carson Wright. Infield, outfield, playing Eater straight up. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the pitch. That's swung on a miss. Eater goes down swinging, 2 gone. So now it'll be up to Luke Boylston to try to provide some 2-out magic and give the Scouts the early lead here. 2 out, runner at third here in the bottom half of the first. Still a scoreless game, at least at the moment, between the Jazz and the Scouts. Flannery has his side. He deals, and the curveball catches the outside corner for a called strike. 0-1 the count. A lot of people to thank that have helped us with our broadcast and helped us with the operation of the Scouts here in 2018, and we will get to those fine folks throughout the broadcast today. As the pitch is taken outside for a ball, 1 ball, and 1 strike. Flannery with a 1-1. Boylston takes a strike. And now Flannery moves ahead in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out in the bottom of the first. Murray will take his lead off of third. Boylston just looking to simply put the ball in play here. The pitch. And Boylston swings. A fly ball down the left field line, just foul. Just a little out in front was Boylston that time. Luke comes in here sporting a batting average of .288, a homer and 10 knocked in, and he also has 6 doubles on the year. Luke back into the right-handed batter's box. Flannery is ready to go. Once again, the 1-2. Swung on and belted out to deep center field. Giving chases Young and Kengott. And that ball is gone! It's a 2-run homer for Luke Boylston. The crowd goes wild here at Grady's Field. An early 2-0 lead for the boys from Xenia.
And even with 2 strikes, Flannery with a little mistake pitch there, left that breaking ball up in the zone, a little hanging curve, and Boylston was all over. He set a moonshot over the left field wall.
Boylston's 2nd homer of the season, RBIs number 11 and 12, and his teammates come out of the dugout en masse to greet him on his way back to the Scouts dugout after a 2-run homer over the left center field wall, an early 2-0 lead for Xenia. And now the pitch to Ryan Burlesman, a pitch outside for a ball. Boy, Riley, you and I have both had a lot of fun watching Burlesman bat all season long for the Scouts. He's mostly been in the designated hitter role. He'll now send a fly ball out to center field. Kengott under it. He'll make the catch for the final out of the inning, but not before Luke Boylston drives in 2 with a 2-run homer over the left center field wall. We head to the top half of the second. Xenia 2, Richmond nothing here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Top half of the second year at Grady's Field, an early 2-0 lead for Xenia thanks to a 2-out, 2-run homer by Luke Boylston. And now Owen Pyatt will head back to the mound for the Scouts. Well, before today's game, very big ceremony down there on the field. You know, these are players that play here in Xenia that have come from far and wide. Some players from the Sunshine State of Florida, the Lone Star State of Texas, the Golden State of California, and everywhere in between. They decided to come here to Xenia to not only play baseball, but to also become better men of Christ here at Athletes in Action as the pitch is taken for a strike by Jaron Kengott. I thought it was really neat before today's game. They honored all of the host families that were gracious enough to open up their doors to allow the players to stay with them during the summer of 2018. As Pyatt rocks and deals the 1-1, that's on the outside corner for a call strike to Kengott. Here are the host families that helped out this year. Roger and Fran Bach, Glenn and Julie Conley, Jonathan and Tiffany Decker, John and Andrea Downing, Tyler and Jessica Goodman, Sammy and Janet Hedaya. As this will be on the infield. Who's going to get it? Eater is under it. He'll make the catch for the first down. The rest of the families, they look like this. Rick and Linda Johannes, JD and Danielle Mishewitz, Leif and Amber Moore, Steve and Stephanie Lane, Jake and Jill Porter, Matthew and Elena Shoemaker, Ben Smith, and Bill and Sherry Vine. Those were all the host families that were nice enough to host the players here in 2018 as that pitch is down low for a ball to Bertram. 1-0 the count on the Jazz third baseman. Now it's 2-0 after a pitch way outside. And Riley, let's face it, those host families played a big role this year. These Scouts players needed a place to live in an environment for a lot of these players that they weren't all that familiar with coming into the summer. So that pitch is outside. 3-0 the count now on Bertram. So, yeah, the host families, they were big here in the summer of 2018.
They were huge. They opened their doors to, college students that they didn't even know. Not all these Scouts players, we've said it time and time again, they're really good guys. But you don't know what you're going to get when you get these players. So they're very gracious. They're very open-minded, and they helped out. They keep the players fed. They give them a bed to sleep on, a roof over their heads. It's a big sacrifice for a family.
So to all the host families who may be listening, a lot of them are here at the ballpark actually, but for some of those that may be listening to our broadcast today, thank you for what you did in 2018. Thank you for what you have done in the last couple of years. A lot of these host families have been associated with Xenia for quite some time. As the pitch is high for a ball to Austin Turner, the second baseman. You played a big role here in 2018. Thank you for your continued support of the Xenia Scouts Baseball Club. A 2-0 lead for Xenia as Richmond bats here in the top half of the second. The runner at first, and now it's a 2 balls and no strikes count on Austin Turner. And, Riley, you and I were talking about this for today's game. You got to wonder how much gas is left in the tank for Pyatt, who has had to pitch a lot for the Scouts as that pitch is outside. It's now a 3-0 count on Turner.
Yeah, Pyatt's been put in a lot of times this week in relief. As we said, he's been on a great tear in relief, but got to wonder how much gas is left in the tank today for a start.
3-0 pitch in there for a strike. It's now 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, a good crowd on hand here today at Grady's Field. It's an overcast sky, but otherwise pretty pleasant day here in Xenia as that pitch is just high for a ball. Back-to-back walks by Bertram and Turner, and now the Jazz have runners at second and first with only 1 gone in the inning. DeAndre Davis will now come to the plate. Davis, the designated hitter for the Jazz today. Davis enters today's game sporting a batting average of 169. No homers and 4 knocked in. The pitch. That's outside for a ball. 1-0 the count on Davis as now Pyatt all of a sudden is really having some control issues here against the Jazz. The pitch. That is in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on DeAndre Davis. It's been a tough year offensively for Davis. He only has 14 hits and 83 at-bats this season. The pitch. Davis swings. Fly ball out to right field, right under it. 2 gone. So now that'll bring Tommy Bell to the plate. Bell with a bunt single on the very first pitch of this game, his first time up. Runners still at first and second, with two gone here in the top half of the second. Early 2-0 lead for the Scouts. Xenia's Luke Boylston allowing them to jump out that lead due to a 2-run homer with 2 out in the bottom half of the last half inning. Pyatt now will look back to second. He'll deliver. And the pitch is in there for a called strike. Pyatt coming with a nice strong fastball that time. Pyatt sets. 0-1. Runners going. Throw down to third, and it's into left field. Coming in to score on the play will be Bertram. And sliding into third will be Turner. As the Jazz get on the board, it's now 2-1 in favor of Xenia.
Felix King just tried to throw that ball over the batter there, and when he threw it over the batter, he also threw it over third baseman Eater's head, and that's what allowed that ball to go out in the left field, get that run in.
So now it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The pitch. That's outside for a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike on Tommy Bell. The pitch. Bell swings and hits a laser out to left field, but Welch is right there to make the catch for the final out of the inning. But the Jazz do get 1 run on no base hits, by the way, and they leave a man on base. We head to the bottom of the second. Xenia 2, Richmond 1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. We head to the bottom of the second. Xenia leading Richmond 2-1. As we keep talking about, this is the final game of the 2018 season for both the Jazz and the Scouts. And throughout our broadcast, we're going to be thanking people. Let's go ahead and thank, Riley, a couple of people who have helped out press box-wise, also covering the Scouts from a media standpoint, from a staff standpoint. I'm going to first thank Luke Sievert, resident writer for the Scouts. You may have heard him join us on a couple of broadcasts during the course of the 2018 season as Flannery will go back to work. His pitch, down low for a ball to Graham Welch. Before today's game, Luke was passing out copies of a story he had recently written about Dave Naw, the general manager for the Scouts, also an assistant coach, as that pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1 the count, and his battle with pancreatic cancer. It is a very good read. That is a foul ball. Rocket down the right field line, just foul by mere inches by Welch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And you know what, Riley? It has been fun hanging out with Luke during the course of 2018 season. Of course, Luke is going into his senior year at nearby Troy High School here in the Dayton area, as this will be a grounder over the head of Flannery. Up with it is Bell. Bell with the throw, and goodness gracious, what a play right there. Bell dove to his right, somehow snagged the ball, got the throw off, and threw Welch out by half a step. 1 gone.
Yeah, those forehand grounders are very hard to corral as a shortstop, especially going up the middle like that, but he was able to use his momentum, spin around in the turf, and get that throw on the dime over there to his first baseman. Very, very impressive play there by Bell.
So now Nick Tuttle will come to the plate for the Scouts. Tuttle's had a very good year for Xenia as the pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. Tuttle batting .352 on the year, no homers, 17 knocked in. Also has 3 doubles and 1 triple. He, too, was a Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League All-Star for Xenia here in 2018. This is a grounder up the third base line. It's a fair ball. Throw to first will be in time. And that'll be the second out of the inning. So Zach Bacon now coming to the plate. Bacon, 188 batter. No homers, 50 knocked in. We have also seen him pitch on occasion for the Scouts here in 2018. But just to finish up the point on Luke Sievert, Riley, it seems as though that young man has a very bright future ahead of him. He is really passionate about sports writing. That's what he wants to do with the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's got a lot of irons in the fires as a high school student, doing a lot of writing, and was the beat writer for the Scouts this summer. He did a very good job, and just read that Dave Null story. He did a very good job on it. It's a long story, long feature story, and those are very hard to write at his age.
1-0 pitch on the way as Bacon will take a ball inside. 2-0 the count on Zach Bacon as Grady's field continues to fill up more and more. This is a high pop-up. Flannery's under it. He'll make the catch. And the Scouts go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second. We head to the top half of the third. Xenia 2, Richmond 1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. We head to the top half of the third at Grady's Field. It is Xenia 2, Jazz 1. Alongside Riley Harshman, I'm Charlie Dana. So glad that we could have you along for the ride for the final time here in 2018. As the Scouts look to go out winners here on July 29th of 2018. The pitch outside for a ball. Well, we talked about this earlier. Southern Ohio, Southern Division of the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League still up for grabs, but the division title pretty much wrapped up. Southern Ohio entered with a half-game lead over second-place Cincinnati in the division as the count is now 3-0 on Nolan Young, the left fielder for the Jazz. Pyatt comes with the pitch, and that gets away, and it's going to be a walk, and going to second on the play. King with the throw, and that's not going to be in time. Wow, Young is able to scamper all the way to second on that play. As the ball got away from King, that would have been an easy walk, but Young was able to advance on the play. Good hustle by Young.
Yeah, good hustle by Young, and Felix took his time a little bit going to get that ball, and once he heard his teammates saying that Young was going for seconds when Felix started busting it, but by then it was too late.
So now Pyatt will go to work on Bill Kroll. Kroll takes a pitch up high. Well, the game has just gone final in Newark. Your final, Southern Ohio 13, Licking County 3. And because of that win, Southern Ohio Copperheads are your 2018 Southern Division winners in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League.
And no real surprise there. The Copperheads are a very talented team. They really have it all. Got a lot of good pitching and a lot of good hitters as well.
2-0 pitch just swung on and missed by Kroll. So, from a divisional standpoint, there really won't be anything for Cincinnati to play for later on tonight as they play at Hamilton. The Joes, meanwhile, still trying to fend off Galleon for that third and final playoff spot in the Southern Division. They're in the bottom half of the second in Galleon. And the Graders and the Monarchs of Lake Erie are tied at 1. So you can bet that Hamilton will be motivated for 7:05. Cincinnati can't finish no worse than second place. So Cincinnati will face either Galleon or Hamilton in that play-in game coming out of the Southern Division before the winner of that game will take on Southern Ohio in the next round of the playoffs. Pitch is popped up high in the air, and the runner was going from second to third. Boylston under it, making the catch for the first out. Treating back to second is Nolan Young. So one gone here in the top half of the third, and now Jackson Blevins will come to the plate. He walked his last time up. That pitch is in there for a strike. So the Southern Division is pretty much sewn up by Southern Ohio. In the meantime, in the Northern Division, Lima's on the road. They're in Salina, Ohio, getting set to take on Grand Lake as this ball is popped up. And into foul territory goes Caleb Eater, where he will make the catch. 2 gone in the inning.
Last inning, Owen Pyatt struggled a little bit with control, walked 2 straight batters. Then he slowed everything down in his motion, just took his time up on the hill, then got two flyouts, and has done the same here. Walked Young, slowed everything down a little bit, and he's gotten 2 flyouts. Now he's got 2 outs.
Maynard now at the plate for Richmond. Fielder's choice his last time up. As I mentioned, Lima is at Grand Lake, up in Salina, Ohio, to be more specific, taking on the Mariners. St. Clair, meanwhile, playing host to the Sugar Beets of Saginaw. That game is not scheduled to start until 7:05. Pitch by Pyatt is up high for a ball. Now that will be an important game for both Saginaw and St. Clair. St. Clair obviously wanting to clinch the Northern Division, but Saginaw, they are still trying to fend off Muskegon for that third and final playoff spot in the Northern Division. The Clippers of Muskegon, they're at Irish Hills taking on the Leprechauns. That game will not start until 7:05 tonight. Pyatt, meanwhile, has gone 3-0 on Maynard. 2 gone in the top half of the third. Runner at second. The pitch, and that's in their first strike. 3-1 the count on the Jazz catcher, Maynard. So we'll keep you abreast of all the scores, all the games that are taking place right now. A lot of the games taking place later on tonight. But we'll still let you know what is going on around the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League on the final day of the 2018 regular season. Pyatt, meanwhile, with a 3-1. That's swung on a miss by Maynard, and now we'll go full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. What are you thinking on this next pitch, Riley?
Got to be the fastball. It's been a pitch that he's commanded pretty well, as we've said this week, and he's got to keep it low. I think that Maynard is thinking fastball as well.
Pyatt with a payoff. That is a grounder up the middle. Tuttle up with it. Throw to first in time. And that's that for the Richmond Jazz in the top half of the third. No runs, no hits. A man left on base for the Jazz. We head to the bottom half of the third with Xenia still leading the Jazz 2-1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Back here at Grady's Field as we head to the bottom half of the third. Xenia leading Richmond 2-1. Well, we continue to thank folks that made this season possible, that helped us out here in the summer of 2018. I want to spend some time here thanking Jennifer Kolb, who helped us out here in the press box, helped us with game day activities and such. Jennifer also serving in the role of photographer, helping out with social media and stuff. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for your role this year. And also to Travis Waker, a young man who's a very, very special individual, as Flannery will go back on the mound for the Jazz, and now he'll step off the mound as he gets set to face Felix King. King up for the first time today, batting ninth and playing a catcher today for Xenia as the pitch is down low for a ball. Travis suffers from cerebral palsy. He is in a wheelchair, but he does not let his condition dampen his enthusiasm for the game of baseball, for this team. The Scouts team has essentially become another family for him. Travis, a native of Michigan, as the pitch is outside for a ball. And a young man that's also getting set to graduate from Eastern Michigan, from what I understand. It's been a pleasure being around Travis. He is the type of guy that will let you know how he is feeling, whether you like it or not sometimes. As the pitch is in there for a strike to King. 3 balls and 1 strike on Felix. But Riley, I have to say that I've enjoyed working with Travis this year. He is the picture of resilience as that pitch misses for a ball. King with a walk. And he just goes to show you that no matter what your limitations may be in life, physically, mentally, whatever, you can still make a big impact, and you can still make a big impact in the lives of other people.
Yeah, Travis did a great job as a statistician for the Scouts, also helped out with the Twitter and other social media, but it just goes to show that old saying, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. He comes in with a great attitude every day, and he's just been a pleasure to be around every day of this summer.
Pitch is outside for a ball, so we definitely thank Mr. Travis Waker for all that he did for the Scouts, and boy, the Scouts players loved being around him. As the 0-1 is hit out to center field by Murray. Ken got under it, making the catch for the first out of the inning. While we have a moment, by the way, Riley, for the final time here in 2018, give us today's trivia question.
Today's trivia question: which of these teams was outscored by 28 runs in a World Series, yet still won the World Series? And your options are the New York Yankees, the Philadelphia Athletics, the New York Giants, or the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The pitch is fouled off to the right. Oh, boy, I already know the answer to this one, but we'll wait a half inning. Let the folks at home, folks who may be listening to our broadcast, stew over that one a little bit. Pitch inside, snap throw back to first, and the runner's back in time. That would be Felix King. 1 ball, 1 strike for Carson Wright, who fouled out to third his last time up. It's a 2-1 lead for the Scouts. 2-run homer by Luke Boylston back in the bottom of the first. And then Riley Bertram coming in to score on a throwing error by catcher Felix King. That's the only run of the game so far for the Jazz. As Wright takes a pitch outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. A little humid, a little sticky today, but other than that, it's a pretty pleasant day here at the ballpark. Yeah, as the throw back to first won't be in time. King slides back in, hands first. Wright taps home plate in anticipation of this 2-1 pitch from Flannery. Here it comes. And the curveball floats in there for a called strike. We're all even at 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 gone. Here in the bottom of the third, the Scouts looking to add to their 2-1 lead. Flannery, meanwhile, straightens up on the mound. The pitch. That's swung on and missed by Wright. He's down on strikes. 2 gone in the inning.
Flannery's got a lot of confidence in that curveball. He's been working it very well today. He's using it in 2-strike counts like he just did there with Wright, but he's also been doing it in counts where he's behind in the count to try to get him back ahead. So Flannery's been really using that curveball.
Caleb Beater up at the plate now for the Scouts, and he will swing and foul it off to the right. Beater struck out swinging his last time up. And while we have a moment, a man that is not able to join us here today due to health reasons, Victor Bubba Cates, who started off this year as the manager, has been the manager for the Scouts over the last couple years. Bubba had to take a prolonged leave of absence because of a myriad of health issues. From what we understand, he's doing better. And Bubba, if you are listening to our broadcast today, get well soon, my friend, and come back better and stronger than ever in 2019. A foul ball that's going to be caught by the first baseman, Krul. That'll be the final out of the third inning for the Scouts. 3 innings in the books here at Grady's Field. Scouts 2, Jazz 1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Top half of the fourth here at Grady's Field. Xenia leading Richmond 2-1 in the final game of the 2018 season. Charlie Danis, Riley Harshman joining you today from Southwest Ohio as these two teams from the Southern Division of the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League duke it out for one final time in 2018. Coming up this inning, we will give you the answer to the final trivia question of the 2018 season, and Mr. Riley Harshman has been doing a great job all season long coming up with these questions, interesting nuggets. He has stumped me quite a few times. That has how good he has been when it comes to coming up with those trivia questions. So we'll get to that in just a moment. In the meantime, Jared Kengott, the center fielder for the Jazz, will come up for Richmond. He'll foul a pitch off to the right. Kengott popped out to third his last time up. It is the 6, 7, and 8 hitters scheduled to bat here for the Jazz in the top half of the fourth. Kengott, Bertram, and Turner. And if anybody gets on base, we'll see DeAndre Davis as well. The pitch is outside for a ball. No balls, 2 strikes. Very good crowd here today at Grady's Field. The pitch outside for a ball. Actually, I'd venture to guess, Riley, this is probably the biggest crowd that we've had all season long.
I would agree with your partner. We got a lot of heads in the stands here, and that when Luke Boylston hit that home run, it really erupted out here, so that was very cool to see.
Pitch is outside for a ball. 2-2 the count on Jared Kengott. Pye looks in for a sign. He has it. The 2-2. That swung on and fouled back towards us. So the count will remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, so far, Pye's been able to hang in there. As the pitch is outside for a ball. We talked earlier in the game about how leading up to this contest between the Jazz and the Scouts that he had been pitching a lot out of the bullpen, concerns over how much gas he had left in the tank, so to speak, as that pitch is outside for a ball, and that'll lead to a walk for Kengott. So far, nobody warming up in the Scouts bullpen, for those of you wondering. So for right now, the Scouts are going to be sticking with Owen Pyatt. And you know what? Why not? Here's a young man who, and this is putting it kindly, looked very, very rusty to begin his tenure with the Scouts. But little by little, Riley, the stuff has improved. The location has certainly improved as that ball is outside for a ball. And as evidenced by his last few relief appearances, he's been on point, everything clicking for Mr. Pyatt.
Yeah, that's what these summers are about. It's about improving your craft, perfecting it, and that's what Owen's been able to do. He looked at his first few appearances with the Scouts, and they, like you said, they weren't great, but you have to have that short memory. Forgot about them, could improve on, and that's what he improved, and it's all started with that fastball command and into place for him after that.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's up high for a ball and almost near the head of Bertram as well. He walked, and he later came around to score the only run of the game for Richmond so far, scoring on a throwing error by catcher Felix King. Here's the 2-0. And here's a high fly ball down the right field line in foul territory, and Boylston is able to make the over-the-shoulder catch for the first out. So with one gone in the inning, Austin Turner will come to the plate. Riley, let's go ahead and revisit today's trivia question.
Today's trivia question was, which of these teams was outscored by 28 runs in a World Series yet still won the World Series? Your options were the New York Yankees, the Philadelphia Athletics, the New York Giants, or the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pyatt with the pitch, and that's outside for a ball. Bacon with the tag, and the runner is in there safely. Kengott with a stolen base. Well, not only can I give you the answer, Riley, but I can also tell you what year that happened. The 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh was heavy underdogs to the New York Yankees, who at that time were led by the dynamic duo of Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. That pitch is inside for a ball, and actually that hit Turner in the back, so he'll trot on down to first after being hit by a pitch. There were games in that 1960 World Series where the Yankees just flat out killed the Pirates, 18-5. Scores like that.
I can actually give you the scores of those games, partner.
Oh, really?
The Yankees won their 3 games 16-3, 10-0, and 12-0.
I mean, those are butt whoopings right there. But You have to win 4 games. That was only 3 wins for the Yankees. It was the Pirates that ultimately triumphed in the 7th game of that 1960 Fall Classic as that pitch is up high for a ball to DeAndre Davis. Hall of Famer Bill Mazeroski playing the role of hero as he became the first player in World Series history to hit a walk-off homer to clinch a World Series title. And here's a looper into left. Nice play by Nick Tuttle as he makes the catch. 2 gone.
And also in that World Series that we're talking about, the World Series MVP was Bobby Richardson of the Yankees, and that's the only time in history that the World Series MVP award was given to a member of the losing team.
To say that that was a very odd series on several fronts is an understatement. But the Buccos will certainly take that victory as they claim their 3rd World Series title in franchise history at that time. And this is a pitch popped up high. Pyatt is under it. He'll make the catch for the final out of the inning as Tommy Bell is retired. No runs, no hits. A couple men left on base for the Jazz as we head to the bottom half of the 4th. It's Scouts 2, Jazz 1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Bottom half of the 4th here at Grady's Field. The Scouts leading the Jazz 2-1. Alongside Riley Harshman, I'm Charlie Danis. And the man who gave the Scouts an early 2-0 lead now striding to the plate. It was Luke Boylston with 2 outs in the bottom half of the 1st. Gave the Scouts that early 2-0 lead thanks to a 2-run homer, his 2nd homer of the 2018 campaign with the Scouts. Sent it over the left center field wall. And the crowd, they simply erupted for joy as Luke will take a pitch down low for a ball. 1-0 the count on the University of Dallas product, Luke Boylston. The pitch. That is in there for a called strike. 1-1 the count on Boylston. Boylston, Bertelsmann, and Welch scheduled to bat for the Scouts here in the bottom of the 4th. Boylston swings and misses a nasty pitch down low. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Luke. Bertelsmann waiting on deck for the Scouts.
Flannery is going to want to be careful here because he gave up that home run to Boylston on a 2-strike count, so Luke is always dangerous.
The 1-2. That is swung on and missed. Strike 3. Boylston goes down swinging. 1 got in the inning. Well, as Ryan Bertelsmann comes to the plate, 0 for 1 with a flyout. We'd like to take this time to thank the members of the Scouts coaching staff. Already mentioned Bubba Cates. We hope, and I sincerely hope, that he is able to make a speedy recovery and come back better and stronger than ever in 2019. Our prayers are with him and his family. So that pitch is in there for a strike to Bertelsmann. We'd also like to thank Dave Naw, assistant coach and general manager for the Scouts, for giving Riley and I an opportunity to cover this team in 2018. He was the guy that hired us. And for that, we are incredibly grateful as Bertelsmann takes another strike on the inside corner, 0-2. And finally, to Austin Harmon, and an assistant coach. And actually, I would like to make an addendum to that as that pitch is, or an amendment, I should say, addendum, as that pitch is fouled off to the right. Jason Lester, the man who took over once Bubba had to leave due to those health concerns. That pitch is hit into right field, and it will drop in foul territory. Turner was giving chase to second baseman, but he came up short. You know, all those guys, Riley, whether it was driving the fans in order to get us from point A to point B for certain road games, the team times that they held for the players. And that also goes for all the chaplains that have come through here in 2018 as well, taking time out of their busy schedules to come here to Xenia to talk about the good word of Jesus Christ, of God, with all these players during the summer of 2018. We thank all those guys for helping out here in the summer. But just a great staff to work with here in Xenia.
Yeah, very good staff. They're very understanding, and Dave helped us out get a few parts that we needed for the broadcast because we've had some technical difficulties, but Dave's been very understanding and helped us out through all of it.
Bertelsmann with a grounder to Bell. Bell threw to first, and just in time. 2 gone. So now Graham Welch will come to the plate. Grounded out to short. His first time up. Still a 2-1 lead for the Scouts as Xenia bats here in the bottom half of the fourth. After this game, all these players will go their separate ways, leaving with them memories that will last a lifetime, teammates that they will cherish and that I'm sure that they will stay in touch with as the years go by. But in the meantime, still one more game to be played, and Xenia hoping to end 2018 on a high note with a win here today against the Jazz. And Welch working with a 1-ball, no-strike count as Flannery, the right-hander, rocks and deals. And it's a high fly ball out to right field. Blevins is giving chase, and he will make the catch for the final out of the inning. The Scouts go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the fourth. We head to the top half of the fifth with the Scouts still leading the Jazz 2-1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Well, for the final time this season, we will give you scores around Major League Baseball as we continue to call a ball game here at Grady's Field in Xenia, Ohio. Hometown Scouts leading the Jazz by a score of 2-1. The Jazz come to the plate offensively, still up against Owen Pye, the right-hander, who's still out there on the mound, Riley.
Yeah, he's thrown a lot of pitches this week. He's up to around 60 right now. He's threw 60 earlier in this week combined total, so he's around 120 pitches for the week. So, you know, you got to think the Scouts are going to have some arms warming up in the bullpen, and we'll see how much longer Owen can go.
A 1-0 count to Nolan Young, who has flied out to right and has walked. Young swings and sends a fly ball out to right field. Carson Wright is under it, and he'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Well, a couple of finals from around Major League Baseball today. The Mets blanked the Pirates 1-0 in Pittsburgh. A near no-hitter for Sean Newcomb, the Braves left-hander, but thwarted in the ninth as the Braves end up winning that game by a score of 4-1. Here is the pitch, and here's a grounder over to short. Bobbled a bit by Tuttle. Throw to first will be in time, and now 2 gone in the inning after the ground out by Bill Kroll. That'll bring Jackson Blevins to the plate. Cleveland defeats the Tigers today, 8-1 in Detroit. Reds blanked the Phillies in Cincinnati 4-0. Marlins shut out the Nationals 5-0 in Miami. And the Orioles all over the Rays today, 11-5 in Baltimore. As the pitch is outside for a ball to Blevins, 1-0 the count. Yankees double up the Royals in the Bronx 6-3 as the pitch is swung on and missed by Blevins. Actually, he's in an 0-2 hole, excuse me. And the Red Sox, they just keep on keeping on. 74-33 at this juncture after shutting out the Twins today, 3-0. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out for Blevins. As he swings and misses, strike 3. Just like that, a 1-2-3 inning for Owen Pyatt. We head to the bottom of the 5th. We'll have more Major League Baseball scores for you in just a moment as the Scouts lead the Jazz 2-1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. We head to the bottom half of the 5th here at Grady's Field. Xenia 2, Richmond 1, as Nick Tuttle will come to the plate. And in just a moment, I'll give you more scores around Major League Baseball for the final time in 2018. And the pitch in there for a strike. They're in the bottom of the 9th in Houston. The Astros trailing the Rangers 4-2 in that one. Also in the bottom half of the 9th, on the south side of Chicago, the hometown White Sox trailing the Blue Jays 7-4. Another strike to Tuttle. He's in an 0-2 hole now. Bottom of the 7th, in Denver, Colorado, the Rockies leading the Oakland A's 3-2. Top half of the 4th in San Francisco, Giants with a 4-2 edge over the Milwaukee Brewers. As Flannery will now step back onto the mound. And getting back into the right-handed batter's box is Nick Tuttle. The pitch. That's down low for a ball. Few other games. Mariners with a 7-run first inning. They're up 7-0 over the Angels as they play in Anaheim in the top half of the 3rd. Also the top half of the 3rd in San Diego where the Padres trail the Arizona Diamondbacks 2-0. Here's a grounder out to 3rd. Bertram with it. Throw to first will be in time for the first down of the inning. And then finally later on tonight, St. Louis Cardinals renew their longtime rivalry with the Chicago Cubs in St. Louis. That game is scheduled for an 8:05 first pitch. Now, Riley, you and I and Luke Siebert, last night in Richmond, we were doing our prognostication, trying to figure out what would happen for the rest of the Major League Baseball season. You made some predictions. Who would win the divisions, who would head to the playoffs, who would win the World Series as that pitch is on the outside corner for a strike to Zach Baker. Popped out to the pitchers last time up. Real quick, when we have a chance here in the innings. For those who did not listen, I'd like you to share your thoughts on how the rest of the season will go, as this will be another ground ball over to third. Throw to first will be in time as the tag is applied by by the third baseman Bertram. 2 gone.
So yeah, Charlie, we made those guesses on how the rest of this MLB season was going to shake out. So real quickly, I'll just go division winners. I had Boston winning the AL East, Cleveland winning the Central, Houston winning the West, and then the wild cards for the AL. I have the Yankees and the Oakland A's.
Pitch is in there for a strike.
And then for the NL, I have the Braves winning the NL East, the Cubs winning the Central, the Dodgers winning the West, and the wild card teams there being the Brewers and the Phillies.
Pitch misses inside for a ball. And as for the rest of the playoffs?
The playoffs, pretty much, I had the World Series being a rematch between the Astros and the Dodgers, and I had the Dodgers winning that World Series rematch.
Felix King with a base hit up the middle. He's a 2-out base runner after a single to center. Now Cam Murray will come to the plate for the third time today. Murray with a double. Later came around to score on the 2-run homer by Luke Boylston and a fly out to center for Cam. You know, I forgot to give my predictions last night. So I have your Dodgers heading to the World Series as National League champs for the second straight time. But I have the Red Sox as American League champions, as this pitch is hit into left field for a base hit. Second hit of the day for Cam Murray as King moves to second on the play. I differ on who you think will win the World Series. I have the Bo Sox over the Dodgers winning the 2018 World Series. Boston is just playing on a completely different level compared to the rest of the teams in that lineup, and also that pitching rotation headlined by Chris Sale and David Price. The Red Sox are going to be tough to beat come playoff time. So that is who I'm going with for my World Series champion. My World Series matchup, too. As that pitch is taken for a strike by Carson Wright, he is fouled out to third, and he has struck out swinging. Coming up later in the game, we'll be joined by resident Scouts writer Luke Sievert to get his final thoughts on how the season's gone for the Scouts. Also get his thoughts on a very special day taking place in Cooperstown, New York. The latest class for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Jack Morris, Alan Trammell, Vlad Guerrero, Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, all going into the Baseball Hall of Fame today. As that pitch is swung on and missed by Carson Wright. As the count moves to 1-2 strikes. A record crowd showed up for that ceremony in Cooperstown earlier today, and you can understand why. By the way, left out Trevor Hoffman, great closer for the Padres. He's also being enshrined as well. So that pitch is up high for a ball. As you would expect, many Major League Baseball franchises being represented with all those players being inducted. Padres fans, Tigers fans, Indians fans, whole bunch of ball clubs. 2-2 pitch. Swung on. Fly ball to right field. Over the glove of the second baseman, Turner. They're going to wave Felix King in. Here's the throw to home plate. Not in time. King scores. Now the throw gets into center field. Another run will come in to score as Murray crosses home plate. 2 runs come in for Xenia. They add to their lead. It's now Xenia 4, Jazz 1. And through all that melee, Carson Wright's able to move all the way up to third base. So score that, an RBI single for Carson Wright. Moves all the way to third on the throwing error. And now Eater swings, and it's a high fly ball out to left field. But Young is under it. He'll make the catch. And that will be the final out of the inning. But not before 2 more runs cross the plate for the Scouts. 5 innings in the books here at Grady's Field. It is Xenia 4, Scouts 1 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Top half of the 6th here at Grady's Field. It is now a 4-run lead for the Scouts, as Owen Pyatt is out there once again for Xenia. That pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. Thomas Flesser is warming up in the pen for Xenia right now. And there's a fly ball out to center. It will drop right in front of Cam Murray for a base knock. First hit of the day for Damian Maynard.
It's the first hit that Pyatt has allowed since the very first batter of this game when Tommy Bell laid that beautiful bunt down the third base line.
Well, now that the Scouts have given Pyatt a little bit more of breathing room here, Riley, I would imagine that his leash tends to get a little longer. Obviously, they got Flesser warming up in the pen, but how many pitches is Pyatt at, by the way?
He's over 70 pitches right about now, so he's definitely feeling it. Like I said, he threw about 60 combined this week in relief appearances, so his arm's definitely feeling it.
Throw to first will not be in time. Runner back safely.
But he also hasn't pitched the last 2 days, so that's definitely helped with his recuperation for the bullpen outings. But right here is start. It's probably going to be cut a little short via the pitch for a pitch count.
Pitch to Ken Gotts up by for a ball. He has popped out to third, and he has also walked in this game. Alongside Riley Harshman, I'm Charlie Danis. And for one final time this year in the booth, as this pitch is lined in the left field for a base hit by Ken Gott, we are joined by Scouts resident writer, Luke Sealer. Luke, hello. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. So, Luke, before we get to your thoughts on the season, as Jason Lester is now making his way out to the mound, and this might actually be a pitching change as Pyatt walks off the mound a little bit. Lester will talk some strategy, probably find some more time for Flesser to get loose out there in the Scouts bullpen. And Lester, well, he's had enough apparently. That was a short conversation as he'll now walk back to the Scouts dugout. Well, Luke, before today's game, you were handing out copies of that story that you had talked about earlier in the year, the story that you had done on Scouts general manager and assistant coach Dave Nah, his battle with pancreatic cancer, what he means to this team, what he means to the players, to this community, et cetera, et cetera. What's the response been like so far?
It's been great. I've seen a lot of people reading it in the stands and stuff, and actually what really touched my heart was seeing Dave's mother. I was introduced to her today. She's a very, very nice lady, and she was moved to tears after reading it.
Pitch down low for a ball to Riley Bertram, who has walked and fouled out to first base for a first time. Well, I got to read parts of some of it. I'll be able to read all of it coming up later on tonight. But from what I saw, Luke, job well done.
Thank you.
That was a very, very well-written story as that pitch is up high for a ball. Now, you were telling us that you are wanting to take that story and have it be published somewhere. Explain that.
Yeah, so I went to a journalism camp at the University of North Carolina earlier this summer, and I met a lady who is
pitch is fouled off to the right.
She's a professor at the University of Virginia, and she's a writer for ESPN the magazine. And I approached her with my story idea and asked for some advice, and she gave me some great advice that helped me put that together. But she also said that once I have it done, to send her my draft, and she'll help me get it published somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. It's a little too long for a newspaper, so I'm thinking like a magazine type thing. But yeah, so hopefully she'll get back to me soon, and we'll pursue that, and hopefully some good things will happen with that.
The count is 3 balls and 1 strike on Riley Bertram. Runners at first and second. Still nobody out here in the top half of the 6th. Scouts leading the Jazz 4-1. Grounder down the third base line. It is fair. This will be extra bases. A run will come into score. That'll be an RBI double for Riley Bertram, as now the Jazz lead has been cut in half, 4-2 in favor of Xenia. So, Luke, another reason that we wanted to bring you in here today was because Riley and I referenced this earlier in the broadcast. Very special day in Cooperstown, New York. 6 new members being elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, as now Lester will come out of the pen, or come out of the dugout, I should say, and the call has been made. So this will be the final time that we see Owen Pyatt on the mound for the Scouts. Owen will get a great hand from the crowd here at Grady's Field. Job well done by Owen. He has put the Scouts in a position to win today. And now it will be up to the bullpen to try to seal this win the rest of the way. We'll talk about Thomas Flesser, the new pitcher, in just a moment. But in the meantime, we will take a quick break. The Jazz continue to bat here in the top half of the sixth. It's Xenia 4, Richmond 2 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. New pitcher on for the Scouts as Thomas Flesser comes out of the Scouts bullpen, relieving Owen Pyatt. Flesser making his 9th appearance of the season for the Scouts. Record of 2-3, earned run average of 9.08, 34 and 2/3 innings pitched. He has struck out 34 and he has walked 20. And he instantly finds himself in a heap of trouble. Runners at second and third, a run already in for Richmond, who trailed the Scouts 4-2. Was still nobody out here in the top half of the sixth. Charlie Danis, Riley Harshman, and the resident Scouts writer Luke Sievert joining us here in the broadcast booth to help us not only call the game, but to also talk about a very special day taking place in Cooperstown, New York. As that pitch is on the inside corner for a called strike. 6 new members for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Jack Morris, Alan Trammell, Trevor Hoffman, Vlad Guerrero, Jim Thome also going in today, and Chipper Jones as that pitch is swung on and missed. An 0-2 hole for Austin Turner, who has walked and been hit by a pitch. Taking his lead off of second is Bertram. Taking his lead off of third is Ken Gott. Flesser with the pitch. That is down low for a ball. Nice block, by the way, for Felix King. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Largest crowd in induction history showed up at Cooperstown earlier today. And as you would imagine, with 6 new players coming in, that's a lot of fan bases being represented. So that pitch is fouled off to the right. Hands of the Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, San Diego Padres, the Angels, as well as Expos fans that might have made the trip down from Montreal to honor Vlad Guerrero. Certainly a lot of Atlanta Braves fans wanting to honor Chipper. As Flesser will kick and deal. And this will be a foul ball off to the right. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Austin Turner. Riley, let me start with you first. And we've already talked about this early on in the year, but that's a special class.
It is a very special class. Those 3 main headliners being Chipper, Thome, and Vlad. I mean, those 3 guys, they were great in their era. Those 3 guys played in the steroid era that was really dominated by a lot of players that used steroids, and those guys didn't use them, and they rose above, and they had great careers. You know, Chipper Jones, probably the best switch hitter of all time. Vladimir Guerrero, probably, you said it, the best bad pitch hitter of all time. Also, I don't think I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, but Vlad Guerrero had a tremendous arm out in right field.
As the pitch is fouled off to the right.
And Jim Thome, great power hitter for the Cleveland Indians. You know, as I've said a lot of times on this broadcast, I go to Ohio University. I know a lot of Indians fans that are from Cleveland, and Jim Thome he's a favored son there. So very good to see those guys get in.
2-2 pitch. Actually, that was a 3-2 pitch down low for a ball, and that'll be a walk for Austin Turner. So now the bases are loaded with still only 1 out in the inning.
No, you're right, partner. That was the 2-2.
Oh, okay. The scoreboard might have made a mistake right there. But on second thought, Turner will now head back to the batter's box. So now it is a 3-ball, 2-strike count. A full count to Turner. Runners at second and third. Still nobody out here in the top half of the sixth as Thomas Flesser has come on to relieve Owen Pyatt. Flesser looking in for his sign, the Ohio Northern Polar Bear. The pitch. And here's a grounder. Tuttle up with it. Both runners have to be frozen as the scouts brought the infield in, and the throw to first in time for the first out of the inning. So that worked out quite nicely for the scouts. Luke, your thoughts on this Hall of Fame class? It's not often that you see 6 guys go in 1 year.
Yeah, Charlie, it's a great class. But actually, I wanted to just tell a little bit of a funny story about Chipper Jones. You know, I don't remember what age I was, but Chipper Jones was getting up there in years, but he was still like a very productive hitter. And I remember the Braves had come into town to play the Reds at Great American Ballpark one night. And Chipper Jones had actually gone 0 for 5 that game. And the whole stands just started chanting 0 for 5, 0 for 5. And I've always remembered that, because I just thought it was really funny at the time, being a young baseball fan, and also that somebody's so well known and such a great baseball player that people pay attention to his stats, and if he's not at his best for one day, then the hometown fans will let him know. So
Davis swings and hits a ground ball up the middle. This will result in 1 run being scored, and that's it. An RBI single for DeAndre Davis. The Scouts' lead has now been cut to 1, 4-3 in favor of Xenia after the RBI single by DeAndre Davis.
yeah, so like I was saying, I think that's a really good indicator of greatness. You see the same thing with people who hate on LeBron James and other players like that. So interesting story about Chipper. I'm very happy for him, though. I've always liked him as a player. He actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but his wife is about to go in labor. She'll probably be having their son today.
I saw that.
And today in his Hall of Fame speech, Chipper Jones confirmed that they would be naming their son Cooper after Cooperstown. So
very, very cool. Yeah, I heard about that. The pitch. This is popped up high in the air and up on the roof. 0-1 the count now on Tommy Bell, the shortstop for Richmond, who has got a single. He's also flied out to left, and he's also popped out in this game. Well, and you know what, Luke, just to piggyback off of that, this is coming after Chipper named one of his sons Shea, because very often enough he would have his best games against the Mets at Shea Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Talk about having a name with a very special connection as this pitch is popped way up. Again, out of play. Count is no balls and 2 strikes on the shortstop, Tommy Bell. So just so I have this clear, so Chipper Jones' wife did go into labor today. Or she just, I heard her due date was tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's why they were on high alert.
I'm not 100% sure the details, but I know that he went first in the speeches on purpose.
Well, yeah, because just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, and also he had recorded a speech if he wouldn't be able to be there. He had one pre-recorded in case she was going to go into labor during the induction ceremony. So
grounder over the glove of Flesser. Tuttle 6-3 double play, and the Scouts are able to get out of the inning. Great play there by Nick Tuttle. But 2 runs cross the plate for the Jazz as we head to the bottom of the 6th. It is Xenia 4, Richmond 3 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Bottom of the 6th here at Grady's Field. Xenia 4, Richmond 3. Charlie Danis, Riley Harshman, and Luke Seaver join you for the broadcast booth today here in Xenia, Ohio, as the Scouts come to bat once again. Luke Boylston, 1 for 2 on the day, but his one hit was a big one. 2-run homer back in the first inning. His last at-bat, he struck out swinging. So Luke will dig into the right-handed batter's box as the right-hander Flannery will go back to work. Here's the pitch. Outside for a ball. We continue to talk, by the way, about the big events taking place in Cooperstown, New York. This class for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. As that pitch is outside for a ball. Congratulations to Trevor Hoffman, former closer for the San Diego Padres. Fly Guerrero, longtime outfielder for the Angels as well as the now defunct Montreal Expos. Chipper Jones, longtime third baseman for the Braves. Alan Trammell, shortstop for the Tigers. Jack Morris, pitcher for the Tigers and the Twins, amongst many other ball clubs as well. Good to see both Trammell and Morris getting in via the Veterans Committee. Did I leave anybody out?
Jim Thome?
Jim Thome. Can't forget about Jim Thome. Thome is my homie. Jim Thome, one of the greatest sluggers of all time. I heard a laugh, Mr. Sievert. I heard that. As that pitch is swung on missed. Sievert will go down swinging for this gun. But, man, you know, Jim Thome, a fantastic player. Will go down as one of the greatest sluggers of all time. But, gentlemen, Jim, nicest guy you ever want to meet. Nothing but good things to say about that guy. It didn't matter if he played in Cleveland or Philadelphia or the White Sox or Minnesota. I think he was even with your Dodgers for a stretch, right, Riley?
I think, yeah, for a little bit.
He always left a big smile on your face. He was a great teammate. 1-0 pitch. Burlesman swings. Here's a high fly ball, or foul ball, I should say. Maynard gives chase. And that's out of ball. And won the count on the Scouts' designated hitter, who today has flied out to center and grounded out to short. Well, after today, we now have to look forward to future Baseball Hall of Fame classes. As that pitch is fouled off at the plate. And because I have loads of time on my hands, I've done some research, gentlemen, and I want to get your thoughts on some possible future Baseball Hall of Fame classes. I have it 5 years out, as a matter of fact. So we'll talk about this as we continue to call this game. 1-2 pitch. That's down low for a ball. 2-2. All right. Let's start with next year. You're going to have Mariano Rivera, great closer for the New York Yankees, as well as Roy Halladay, starting pitcher for the Blue Jays and the Phillies, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, as Bertelsmann swings and sends a single into left field. That'll be a base hit. Bertelsmann, he's digging for second. Throw into second will not be in time. It's a hustle double for Ryan Bertelsmann to left field. And Ryan Bertelsmann, Riley, all season long, the guy's athletic, but more importantly, he is quick.
Yeah, he's very quick around the base pass. He was thinking 2 all the way as soon as he hit that. He was busting it around first, had a great turn at first. And he was thinking 2 all the way. He had nothing else in mind, and he got in there safely.
So Graham Welch will now come to the plate. The pitch, outside for a ball. As I was saying, Halladay and Rivera, they'll be first-time guys on the ballot next year. And then Edgar Martinez, who came oh so close, a longtime designated hitter for the Seattle Mariners. He'll get a chance to go into the Hall of Fame on his 10th and final year on the ballot. I think he is getting in along with Halladay and Rivera. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I would concur. I have always thought Edgar Martinez should get in. He really revolutionized the DH role in the AL. I mean, the award for best DH in the league is called the Edgar Martinez Award for a reason, because he did that so well. And then Mariano Rivera, one of the best closers of all time. I love the stat that more men have.
High fly ball out to right field. Welch got a lot of this one. It is gone! A 2-run homer for Graham Welch.
Double.
Oh, a double, excuse me. Turned out to be a ground rule double that hit at the base of the wall. Boy, I thought that was a 2-run homer.
Yeah, the outfielder was in the way of where that ball landed, so we didn't quite see the ball land in the field, but apparently it did. Bounced over, but Welch will take the double on the RBI.
So now it's a 6-3 lead for the Scouts. So that will actually go down. as an RBI double for Graham Welch, driving in Bertelsmann on the play as well. As boy, Graham got a whole heck of a lot of that ball. And the Scouts get one of those 2 runs back that they gave up against the Jazz in the top half of the inning. Tuttle now at the plate for Xenia. He has grounded out to third not once but twice on the day. 0 for 2.
And to finish up my little point there about Mariano Rivera, one of my favorite baseball statistics is more men have walked on the moon than have scored on Mariano Rivera in the playoffs.
That pitch hit to the shortstop, and Bell will put it in his back pocket. That's an RBI, not a infield single, for Nick Tuttle, as staying at second was Graham Welch. Well, Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with those names you have up there, but one thing I want to touch on this time next year, if those names hold true, that Roy Halladay induction ceremony is going to be a very emotional time for
Absolutely.
baseball fans all over.
Gone way too soon, died in a plane crash somewhere in facility in Clearwater, Florida. So that is, and Halladay, he would potentially be, I'm trying to think, I think he would be the first player to be posthumously inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, after, a tragic ending to his life. I think you got to go all the way back to Roberto Clemente when he died in a plane crash.
One of my favorite Roy Halladay memories is his first ever postseason appearance back in 2010 against the Reds. Threw that no-hitter. And that was just very special to see because he was such a great pitcher for the Blue Jays for so many years, but Blue Jays were never good enough to make that push into the playoffs. And, Halladay made that move to the Phillies, threw that no-hitter against the Reds. It was just a great moment to see a guy who really deserved that postseason appearance, and he made the most of it.
No pitch upcoming here to Ben Bills, who had entered the game for Zach Bacon over at second base. Roy Halladay, one of the few pitchers, by the way, to win a Cy Young Award in both the American League and the National League. I'll be shocked if he doesn't go into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. He was a darn good pitcher back during his heyday. So that's 2019. 2020, this is a given. The only question is who's going to be the ignoramus who leaves this guy off of his ballot that year. Derek Jeter is about as big a shoe-in on the first ballot as you can get, as this will get away from the catch guy. Now both runners will move up a base. Welch to third, Tuttle to second on the wild pitch by Flannery.
Yeah, Jeter, possibly the best overall shortstop of all time. He could hit, he could field, he could do it all. 5-time World Series champion, is that correct?
Yes,
Charlie. 5-time World. I mean, definitely a shoe-in. You wonder a couple years ago who left Griffey off their ballot. It'll be the same question: who leaves Jeter off his ballot?
Pitch is taken for a strike by Ben Bills. 3-1 the count on the Scout second baseman. The other guy I have joining Jeter in 2020, Mike Mussina. That pitch is down low for a ball, and Bills will walk, and now the bases are loaded for the Scouts. Mussina was one of the better pitchers in the 1990s. He never won a Cy Young Award, but he's high up there in wins. Productive years with both the Orioles and the Yankees, and his vote total has climbed year by year by year by year. If you go by the recent trend for Mussina, he's probably on track to make it in there in 2020. So a couple of former Yankees teammates will probably be the 2 players going into the Hall in 2020 as the pitch is down low for a ball. King coming to the plate, that being Felix. Bases loaded, 1 out here. In the bottom half of the 6th inning, the Scouts have a chance to break this ball game wide open. The pitch. King swings. It's off the glove of Flannery. Flannery chases after it, and everybody is going to be safe. That's going to be an infield RBI single for Felix King as Welch comes in to score from third. It is now a 5-3 lead for the Scouts. Back to the top of the order we go for the Scouts. Cam Murray, who's scored a couple times. A couple base hits as well. 2 for 3.
Yeah, Charlie, I just wanted to say something. I agree with both those picks right there as well. But, talking about the Derek Jeter, who's going to leave him off the ballot, I believe that this year was the first year where the writers, their ballots were made public. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so I feel like, now more than ever.
Here's a chopper to Flannery. He'll throw to home. There's an out. Throw to first. There's another out as well. And that will be an inning double play. So the Scouts, they leave a couple men on. They score a couple runs on 4 base hits. And Luke will finish up his comment as we head to the top half of the 7th. Xenia leading the Jazz 5-3 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Top half of the 7th here at Grady's Field. A defensive substitution has been made, by the way, for the Scouts. Actually, a couple. Truman Brown enters the game at third base, taking over for Caleb Eater, and Jarrett Lindsey's your new pitcher. He takes over behind the plate for Felix King. It's a 6-3 lead for the Scouts as the Jazz come to bat here in the top half of the 7th. Huck Seaver continues to visit with Riley and I as we talk about future Baseball Hall of Fame classes, with the 2018 edition going in earlier today as the pitch is taken outside for a ball. Now, Luke, you were making a point about Derek Jeter. Continue.
Yeah, so this year was the first year where the writers who vote for the Hall of Fame, their voting was made public. So
as this is a high fly ball out to left field. Welch will give chase. He's under it. He'll make the catch. One gone.
You know, for there to be a unanimous vote, I mean, I don't understand how Griffey didn't get it, but I mean, he had 99.3% of the vote. I think now that the voting is public, if it's going to happen to anybody, I think watch out for Derek Jeter. You know, I don't know how anybody could argue that he doesn't deserve it, and you know, with those Yankee fans, how aggressive they are, any writer who votes against them will be attacked, probably not physically, but verbally on Twitter and other social media. So, yeah, I think Derek Jeter, just because of the public voting, he is a shot for that.
Oh, one pitch is outside for a ball. 1-1 the count on Bill Kroll.
And the thing about, you know, when Griffey had that one less vote, to give the writers, you know, their side of the story, normally that mindset of that writer is, he's going to get in anyway, so I'm going to try to give my vote to somebody who might need that extra vote, might need to get that extra percentage point or so I can get why some writers will just leave that man off the ballot. But, you know, ultimately, it is kind of a weird decision.
Like I'm poking a hole in that argument immediately. You can vote for up to 10 men on the ballot. So if you're unless you're really wanting to get a couple extra guys in there or try to give them some necessary votes for election into the Hall, you really don't have an excuse for passing the buck, so to speak, or not giving the vote to that player that is really, really deserving. And by the way, if there is anybody that is deserving of getting perfect, it's Derek Jeter. 5-time World Series champion, all-star, go down as one of the greatest shortstops of all time. Guy's a great player. That pitch is down low for a ball, and Kroll with a walk. So that's 2020. 2021. This is where things start to dry up a little bit from a talent standpoint. The two guys that I got going in that year is the right-hander Curt Schilling, who was tremendous in the back half of his career, particularly when he was pitching in the postseason for the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox. And here's a high pop-up. Pitch on the infield. Bills is under it, and he'll make the catch for the second out. Schilling is my one pick for 2021, along with former Cleveland Indians shortstop Omar Vizquel, who was probably our generation's version of Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the year. Two great defensive shortstops, and Vizquel is definitely one of them. He had some of the quickest hands you've ever seen. He has, I think, the best fielding percentage among all shortstops of all time. I mean, the guy was unreal with the leather.
So that is the class of 2021. Luca, any thoughts on Schilling and Vizquel?
I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with you guys. Both those names very deserving, very good players. Definitely Hall of Famers in my eyes.
1-0 pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Okay, 2022. This will be a year that the Hall of Fame might be dreading. And the reason that I say that, well, I'll say it in a moment, as the 1-1 is down low for a ball. If you go by recent trends, who's on the ballot that year, et cetera, that might be the year where we finally see both Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, who's on the ballot that year, et cetera. That might be the year where we finally see both Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. They have been in baseball purgatory, for lack of a better term, because of their link to PEDs, to steroids, during what have elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. They have been in baseball purgatory, for lack of a better term, because of their link to PEDs, to steroids, during what have otherwise been illustrious careers. Bonds will go down as one of the greatest power hitters of all time. Clemens has a great argument as to being the greatest right-handed pitcher of all time if you go by the hardware he racked up and all the wins, et cetera, et cetera. 2-2 pitch inside for a ball. 3-2 the count now on Damon Maynard. But David Ortiz will also be on the ballot for the very first time. We'll talk more about this since we got 2 outs here in the inning. But I'll just start off by saying this. They better hope that David Ortiz gets in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, because if it's just both Bonds and Clemens that year, you're not going to see a lot of people show up for that ceremony. As that pitch is down low and Maynard walks. Second walk of the inning for Flesser. Moving up to second on the play is Kroll. It's a 6-3 game. It's up 3 over the Jazz here in the top half of the 7th. And now Flesser finds himself in a little bit of trouble here, Riley.
Yeah, Fletcher's been struggling a little bit with his control. He's walked a couple batters, but he's got 2 outs. He just needs to slow down, trust his defense, try to keep these fastballs low in the zone, try to produce a grounder, get out of this inning.
So now the batter is Jared Kengott. Kengott has popped out to third. He's also walked, and he's also singled and scored in this game. He represents the potential tying run. Taking his lead off of second is Kroll. Taking his lead off of first is Maynard. Thomas Flesser, meanwhile, delivers the 1-0. That's swung on a miss. 1-1 the count on Kengott. Yep, 2022. Still a ways away, but that's an important year to keep in mind for the Baseball Hall of Fame, as this pitch is fouled off to the right. Bonds and Clemens might get in, and it'll also be the first year on the ballot for both David Ortiz and a guy by the name of Alex Rodriguez. And we all know the trouble that he got into when it came to steroids during his playing day. Tremendous player, but still that link to PEDs. As that pitch is inside for a ball. There's no telling if or when Rodriguez will make it into the Hall of Fame at all. If you just go by his numbers, he's an easy first ballot Hall of Fame guy. But it's going to be fascinating to see how people feel about him from a steroid standpoint. Here's a grounder. Bills flip over to second. There's the force out. There's the final out of the inning. Stretch time here at Grady's Field. Xenia 6, Richmond 3, here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Stretching here at the ballpark at Grady's Field as we head to the bottom half of the seventh. Xenia leading Richmond 6-3. Charlie Danis, Riley Harshman, as well as Luke Seaver joining us here in the broadcast booth as we wrap up our conversation about potentially going in that year. If you look at the trends, if you look at who's on the ballot that year, and David Ortiz, first ballot Hall of Famer or not?
I think David Ortiz is the first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he was the key piece in those Red Sox.
Hit for Carson Wright, which means that Chambers, in all likelihood, is headed to right field. Truman Brown, meanwhile, he was inserted at third base earlier in this game. He's waiting on deck for Xenia. Pitch is inside for a ball. But what about Bonds and Clemens?
I agree with you that I think they'll eventually get in, but do I agree with them getting in? No, because I'm big anti-PEDs. I've never been one to agree with them. I mean, that's cheating. And when you cheat in this game of baseball, it's such a beautiful game. I mean, it's disrespect to the game. And I just don't stand for it. You know, there's guys in the minor leagues that make pretty much minimum wage that work their butts off every day, day in and day out, do it the right way, do it the clean way, and they never make their way to the bigs. And then guys like that make their ways to the bigs and cheat themselves, cheat everybody else.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Chambers. And Chambers will swing, and that's a base hit into left field for Chandler Chambers. A single with nobody out here in the bottom of the seventh. Luke, your thoughts?
Well, you know, I mean, it's tougher for me because, I mean, I didn't see either of those guys play. I wasn't alive for the whole steroid PED controversy. You know, I'm 18, so being just like hearing stories and like soaking up as much knowledge as I can get without personally being alive during that time. To me, you know, it's a tough call. I feel like since they're trending up, I think they will get in, but whether or not I think they deserve it or not, I can't really say. I do think that no matter what, I mean, Barry Bonds still had to square the ball up, still had to put it out, still had to hit the ball, which many other people, and I think they will get in, but whether it's right or wrong, I don't know.
Looks like a new pitcher has entered, and that would be Riley Bertram. Bertram was originally the designated hitter. We'll keep it right here at Grady's Field as Bertram warms up. It's a 6-3 lead for the Scouts as Xenia continues to bat here in the seventh. So, oh, by the way, that means that is the end of the day for the Jazz right-hander Nathan Flannery. He ends up giving up 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 10 hits, 4 strikeouts, and 2 walks. By the way, the day officially done for Owen Pyatt. 5 innings, gives up 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 4 hits, walked 5, and struck out 1. Thomas Flesser still out there on the mound for the Scouts, but in the meantime, we're going to focus our attention on the new pitcher, Bertram, and also kind of wrap up this discussion. By the way, you are in agreement that David Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer, correct?
Yes.
I don't see I don't see why they would not want the Scouts, but in the meantime, we're going to focus our attention on the new pitcher, Bertram, and also kind of wrap up this discussion. By the way, you are in agreement that David Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer, correct?
Yes.
I don't see I don't see why they would not want to put him in the Hall of Fame on his first year on the ballot. Okay, want to put him in the Hall of Fame on his first year on the ballot. Okay, finally, 2023. Now, this is dependent upon whether a key player retires at the end of this year. Finally, 2023. Now, this is dependent upon whether a key player retires at the end of this year, which I think he will. First, we start with Carlos Beltran, though. Outfielder, played for 7 different teams, had a lot of good years, mainly with the Royals and the Mets, amongst other teams. Guy has over 400 hits, nearly, which I think he will. First, we start with Carlos Beltran, though. Outfielder, played for 7 different teams, had a lot of good years, mainly with the Royals and the Mets, amongst other teams. Guy has over 400 hits, nearly 400 homers, I should say, nearly 3,000 hits. I'm curious to know what you got, 3,000 or 400 homers, I should say, nearly 3,000 hits. I'm curious to know what you guys think of Beltran, who announced his retirement, by the way, just this past year, as that pitch is inside for a ball to Truman Brown.
I mean, Beltran was a guy, he did a little bit of, he did it all. He was a guy.
Guys think of Beltran, who announced his retirement, by the way, just this past year, as that pitch is inside for a ball to Truman Brown.
I mean, Beltran was a guy, he did a little bit of, he did it all. He was a guy who was pretty much a five-tool player when he was coming up. I mean, he could do everything. He was a great hitter, as you said, 400 homers.
Runner going, throw into center field. And now Chambers will take off. He will get into third, sliding feet first.
He was pretty much a five-tool player when he was coming up. I mean, he could do everything. He was a great hitter, as you said, 400 homers.
Runner going, throw into center field. And now Chambers will take off. He will get into third, sliding feet first. Just like that, more insurance, standing 90 feet. Just like that, more insurance, standing 90 feet away. After that throw got away from the catcher Maynard. And now a definite RBI opportunity here for Truman, who has a 2-0 count. Luke, what do you think of Carlos Beltran?
Yeah, Beltran's a guy who, like I said, I'm pretty young, didn't get
away. After that throw got away from the catcher Maynard. And now a definite RBI opportunity here for Truman, who has a 2-0 count. Luke, what do you think of Carlos Beltran?
Yeah, Beltran's a guy who, like I said, I'm pretty young, didn't get to see a lot of these guys play. I remember watching him play in his later years with the...
Here's a fly ball out to left field. Catch will be made. Runner is tagging. Throw home. It'll be cut off by Davis.
See a lot of these guys play. I remember watching him play in his later years with the...
Here's a fly ball out to left field. Catch will be made. Runner is tagging. Throw home. It'll be cut off by Davis. And no throw to home plate after that. That'll be an RBI sac fly for Truman Brown as the Scouts add their lead. It's now 7-3 in favor of the boys from Xenia.
Yeah, I remember Beltran watching him play with St. Louis with the Yankees.
And no throw to home plate after that. That'll be an RBI sac fly for Truman Brown as the Scouts add their lead. It's now 7-3 in favor of the boys from Xenia.
Yeah, I remember Beltran watching him play with St. Louis with the Yankees, with the Rangers to finish up his career. And I just remember he was always a guy who was in the mix, always a guy that could produce, and always was always on the highlight.
As well as his host family here at the ballpark. A 7-3 lead for Xenia. As that pitch is outside for a ball.
Rio doing something, so I think he deserves it, definitely.
Boylston 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer all the way back in the first inning as he got a big Luke chip, as well as his host family here at the ballpark. A 7-3 lead for Xenia. As that pitch is outside for a ball. And from his family members, as well as his host family here at the ballpark. A 7-3 lead for Xenia. As that pitch is outside for a ball. Still nobody out here in the bottom half of the seventh, by the way.
And Beltran was also part of this Astros team last year.
Yes.
Got that long-awaited World Series ring that he'd been chasing for a lot of his career, and he finally got it, so that was also very good to see.
Beltran playing for 7 different teams. It'll be interesting to see if and when he gets into the Hall of Fame, which cap he will choose for his black and Cooperstown. And finally, again, this is dependent upon this player officially calling it quits, calling it a career as Boylston swings and misses strike 3. That's the third time. And Lucas struck out swinging today. 2 gone in the inning. Ichiro Suzuki, longtime outfielder for the Mariners, also had stints with the New York Yankees and the Miami Marlins. He signed a contract with the Mariners, played for Seattle for a little bit before, I guess you could call semi-retiring to a front office position with the club. He has left the door open for 2019 when it comes to possibly playing, as this pitch is up high for a ball. If he goes in, is he in the same class as a Derek Jeter? Real quick, guys, yes or no when it comes to going into the first ballot?
No doubt.
I think he's first ballot, yeah. 3,000 hits, easy.
So that will end the inning here in the bottom half of the seventh, and sadly the final time that we get to talk with Luke Sievert here on the air. Luke, thank you so much for joining us all season long. Best of luck with your senior year at Troy High School, and then after that, I think you got a bright future ahead of yourself, guy.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on throughout the year. Thanks to all the listeners, whoever read my stories. If anybody out there listening has read my stories, I really appreciate that as well. And just one last time, signing off. Thank you to everybody, and good luck, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Luke Sievert, resident writer for the Xenia Scouts here in 2018. We head to the top half of the 8th. Xenia looking good. They lead the Jazz 7-3 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Top half of the 8th here at Grady's Field. So far, it's been a good day for the Scouts. They lead Richmond by a score of 7-3. Thomas Flesser still out there on the hill for the Scouts. Flesser has gone 2 innings so far, no runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, and no strikeouts so far. He's done the job out of the bullpen so far this afternoon as the Scouts look to end the 2018 season on a high note. Alongside my broadcast partner, Riley Harshman, this is Charlie Danis. This is Xenia Scouts Baseball here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network as the pitch is fouled off to the right by Jared Kengott. Kengott 1 for 3 on the day with a single and a run scored. And it's an 0-1 count on the Jazz center fielder. Now, it looks as though that a left-hander is warming up in the pen for the Scouts, as this is a bunt attempt. Lindsey out in front. He'll make the throw to first. 1 gone in the inning. It couldn't be Ryan Moeller because his arm has been in a sling the last couple days. He's done. So I'll be very interested in seeing who that player is. Out to short. Pitch from Flesser's outside for a ball. Well, in case you haven't heard, the Southern Division champions here in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League, it's Southern Ohio. They defeated Lincoln County today by a score of 13-3. So Cincinnati will finish in second place. Meanwhile, top half of the 5th in Gallion still trying to keep their hopes alive for that third and final playoff spot in the Southern Division as the pitch is fouled back. They trail Lake Erie 4-2. The team that's trying to catch for third place, Hamilton, they play host to Cincinnati later on tonight at 7:05. The only other game in action besides ours, Lima leading Grand Lake 5-2, top half of the 7th over there at Grand Lake. And it was Lima that trailed St. Clair. So with a win today, the Locos would pull to within a tie of the Green Giants, who later on today will be playing host to Saginaw, who is trying to clinch that third and final playoff spot in the Northern Division. That'll be a walk to Austin Turner, giving the Jazz a 1-out base runner here in the top half of the 8th. Scouts, meanwhile, up by 4. And now DeAndre Davis will come to the plate. A fly out to right, a pop out to short, and a single. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Davis trying to butt the man over. Bunt up the third base line, throw to first will be not in time. Davis is able to beat it out for an infield hit. And now runners are at first and second. There's still only 1 out in the frame. And you really got to wonder how long of the leash will be for Flesser as, again, that left-hander continues to warm up in the pen. Riley, can you make heads or tails out of the guy who's down there?
I honestly don't know. This is very weird. We've really gotten to know these guys, but I'm trying to think of all the guys who are left-handed throws. You said Moeller's one, and, Graham Welch is another, but Welch is out in left field.
That pitch is in there for a strike. I'm going to do a quick look over when it comes to the Scouts roster to see if I can make heads or tails. Again, it's a left-hander warming up there in the bullpen. It's not Ryan Moeller because he's hurt. And Andrew Verbrugge, he's been gone from the team for a while as the pitch is fouled off to the right.
And Andrew was a righty as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I read that wrong. Bats left. Throws right. Well, it's not Palmer Stevenson. He's been gone from the team for a while. I don't know. We'll have to see. In the meantime, Flesser trying to get out of this jam.
Might have an ambidextrous player. Who knows?
Tommy Bell, meanwhile, waiting on the pitch, but Flesser will spin around and send the runner Austin Turner back to second on the play. 0-2 count on Tommy Bell. Here's the pitch. Down low for a ball, 1-2 the count. So the Jazz shortstop, who grounded into a double play his last time up. The pitch. It's a bleeder into left field. That'll be a base hit. It's an RBI single for Tommy Bell. That cuts the Scouts' lead to 3. It's now 7-4 in favor of Xenia. Scoring on the play is Austin Turner. Moving up to second on the play is DeAndre Davis. And now Jason Lester will come to the plate. This might be the final batter that we see Flesser face here in 2018 for the Scouts. We'll just have to see. Again, that left-hander continues to get warmed up. As Jared Lindsay, the catcher, the entire Scouts infield comes in. Lester asking Flesser if he wants to keep going here in this 8th inning. Flesser might be hurt as well. You just never know. Waiting is Nolan Young. And now Jason Lester will depart as he will make the slow walk back to the Scouts dugout. Xenia 7, Richmond 4. 1 run already in here in the top half of the 8th and only 1 out. Runners, meanwhile, at first and second. And now Nolan Young, the left fielder, will come to the plate for Richmond. Flesser, if I had to guess, Riley, this might be his final inning of work, and then the Scouts might give way to the left-hander, whoever is warming up down there. As this will be a foul ball down the right field line. Out of play. Count will be no balls and 1 strike on Young.
No matter what, Fletcher's just got to focus on throwing strikes. He's done a pretty good job of that this inning, despite the walk to Austin Turner, but he just needs to keep throwing strikes. These little dinky hits, little bunt for a single, little dinky hit by Tommy Bell. He needs to forget that. Just keep hitting the strike zone.
By the way, I think I might have been able to locate who this left-hander, this mystery left-hander is warming up in the bullpen for the Scouts. Daniel Earls came in very late in the season for Xenia. He's a 6'5", 200-pound sophomore out of Denison University, native of Springboro, Ohio. Both runners move up on a double steal. Davis to third, Bell to second. Things are starting to get a little hairy here for Flesser. The pitch. That is up high for a ball. 2-1 the count now to Nolan Young. Young still looking for his first hit of the game. Here's the pitch. Fly ball. Center field. Cam Murray will race back. He'll make the catch. Tagging from third is Davis. He will come in to score on an RBI sac fly by Nolan Young. It's now 7-5 in favor of Xenia. So 2 gone in the inning, and Bill Krull will come to the plate. Now 2 runs in this inning for Richmond. Flesser just looking to get that final out. Preserve what has now become a 2-run lead for his boys here in Xenia. And now Flesser will step off the mound. Well, so I think I know what the strategy is going to be here for Jason Lester from here on out. He's going to try to let Flesser get out of this frame, and then by the time we get to the 9th inning, we'll see Daniel Earls. Krull will swing and miss at that one. 0-1 the count on the Jazz first baseman. He was flied out, popped out, grounded out to short. Also has a walk in this game. The 0-1 in their first strike. 0-2 lead for the Scouts. The pitch. Outside for a ball, 1-2 the count. Jackson Blevins waits on deck for Richmond. Here comes the 1-2. High fly ball down the right field line. Twisting, turning, foul. Boylston running out of room. Wait. No, I'm not too sure who that left-hander is now because I just saw the back of his jersey, 21. Daniel Orles was listed as number 15. That guy is truly a mystery man down the left field line. 1-2. Called strike three on the outside corner. Flesser's able to get out of the jam. 2 runs coming to score for the Jazz. We head to the bottom half of the 8th. Xenia 7. Richmond 5 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Graham Welch will lead things off for the Scouts here in the bottom of the 8th as Xenia looks for some insurance. The Scouts leading the Jazz by a score of 7-5. The pitch outside for a ball. You know, I've thanked a lot of people here today. There's one more individual that I have to thank, helping me broadcast games for the Scouts here in 2018 as Welch sends a grounder over to second. Throw to first. Will be in time for the first out. Mr. Harshman, I got to thank you for putting up with me here in 2018 and for helping me call all these games here this summer. It has been so much fun getting to know you not only as a person, but what your career aspirations are going to be. You are going to be entering your final collegiate year at Ohio University, so congratulations on that. And it was so much fun, partner, talking baseball with you, calling these games with you. A true delight, Riley. I really mean that.
I appreciate it, partner. And likewise to you, I really learned a lot with the broadcasting voice. It's something I really tried to develop through this summer, just talking better on air. And that's something I really learned a lot from you, picked up on things that you said during these games, and it really helped me become a better broadcaster. So I got to thank you as well.
Nick Tuttle up at the plate now for Xenia. He's 1 for 3 with a single. As the 0-2's on the way, he'll swing and miss. Strike 3. Tuttle goes down swinging. And perhaps his final at-bat as a Xenia Scout.
No little knock on my name, harsh man, harsh truth. So I'm really looking forward to this final year at OU.
0-1 pitch is in there for a strike. Well, hey, best of luck going forward. I know that you want to be a sports personality, whether that be writing or broadcasting or whatever. I mean this in the most sincerest way, Riley. I wish you the best of luck going forward.
Thank you very much, partner. I wish you the best of luck with your future career as well.
Bills waiting on the 0-2. This will be a grounder out to second. Throw to first will be in time as the Scouts go down 1-2-3. Well, this is it. The Scouts will try to go for their final win of the 2018 campaign. Come on back for perhaps one last inning of Xenia Scouts baseball here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network as we go to the top half of the 9th. Scouts leading the Jazz 7-5 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Well, this is it potentially. We're heading to the top half of the ninth. Scouts looking to close out the Jazz. Xenia leading Richmond 7-5. Thomas Flesser still out there on the hill for the Scouts, and the first batter he will face in the inning is Jackson Blevins. Blevins 0 for 3 with a walk. Flesser looks in for his sign from Jarrett Lindsay, and the pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. One final thank you, and this is a big-time thank you. Thank you to all the fans that have come here to Grady's Field as Blevins swings, and it's a high fly ball out to right field. This will be extra bases. It'll head over the wall. It'll be a thank you to all the fans that have come here to Grady's Field, to all the fans that have listened to our broadcast, whether you are parents of the players, the host families, or just fans of the Scouts in general. Thank you so much for watching us, for allowing us to be inside your homes, on your computer, no matter what way you accessed us this year. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives for these last couple of months here in the summer of 2018. The pitch is on the inside corner for a called strike to Damian Maynard, who has a single in 3 official at-bats today, also with a walk. Without fans, the game is nothing. So we thank you for your continued support of Xenia Scouts baseball. Bluff throw over to second. Chasing the runner, Blevins back. So a runner at second. Nobody out here in the top half of the ninth. The Scouts up by 2. Flesser with the pitch. Here's a fly ball. It'll drop into right field. This is going to score Blevins. This is going to be an RBI double for Maynard. And just like that, it's a 1-run game. And you really got to wonder if Jason Lester is going to keep Flesser out there. He's on the top step. I can see him from our perch up here in the broadcast booth. And Lester is not going to make a move out there, so he's going to keep Flesser out there. I don't know if I exactly agree with that decision or not, but now we have ourselves a 7-6 game, and the potential tying run is now sitting out there at second with still nobody out here in the inning.
Yeah, Flesser's got a gas. He threw 80 pitches earlier this week in his start against the Joes, and he's thrown over 50 pitches here today. So, we're talking about pitch count. He's over 130 pitches for the week. That takes a toll on you.
Pitches inside to Jared Kengott. Want to know the count. Next pitch in their first strike. Given a 1-1 strike on Kengott. He has a single in 2 official at-bats today. So just like that, a 1-run game. Scouts 3 outs away from a win to end the 2018 season, but they have to work at it here as the pitch is down low to Maynard. Two balls, 1 strike on Kengott. This is a high pop-up, just what the doctor ordered. Lindsay discards the mask. In foul territory, Jarrett makes the catch for the first out.
That's just what the doctor ordered. Did move that tying run out from second, that pop-up to Lindsay, and Flesser got his first out and didn't allow that runner to move.
So now Riley Bertram, the pitcher, comes to the plate. Started off this game as the third baseman for the Jazz. Today, he has walked and scored. He's fouled out to first. He has doubled, and he's also grounded out to the pitcher. Flesser with the pitch. Swung on and missed. Throw down to third, and the runner is safe. Stolen base for Maynard. He's now 90 feet away. That's the potential tying run over there at third for the Jazz. As it's now an 0-1 count on Riley Bertram. Flesser's really got to bear down here. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and missed. No balls, 2 strikes on Riley Bertram. Bertram makes his way back into the right-handed batter's box. And now Flesser will step off the hill to compose himself. And now a balk has been called on Flesser. Unbelievable. Bertram scores. We're tied at 7.
Yeah, Flesser.
I mean, I'm stunned right now.
Yeah, Flesser literally dropped the ball. He was on the rubber, dropped the ball from his throwing hand, and that's what caused the balk right there. You can't drop the ball unless you're throwing to the plate.
Wow. 0-2. Bertram fouls it off. Boy, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That is a lousy way to give up a lead. And I can't imagine how the Scouts feel out there in the field right now. 0-2. That bounces up at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Actually, the better question is, I wonder how Flesser feels out there. And oh man. Well, now the Scouts have to turn the page. They're going to have to try to keep this a tied game heading into the bottom of the 9th. That's a grounder over to short. Tulla with the throw to first. That's in time for the second out of the inning. So 2 gone in the inning. Now Austin Turner will come to the plate. Turner walked and scored his last time up. Well, here's a silver lining possibly. Jazz walked off with a victory last night against the Scouts in Richmond. Could Xenia return the favor possibly a day later here on the final day of the 2018 season? We'll just have to see. In the meantime, that pitch it misses to Turner. Here's the 1-0. Foul back. 1-1 the count on Turner, the second baseman for the Jazz. Scouts, 7 runs on 10 hits, 1 error in the field. Jazz, meanwhile, 7 runs on 9 hits, 2 errors in the field. The pitch. That is in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Turner. And in case you were wondering, coming up for the Scouts, Felix King, Cam Murray, and Chandler Chambers. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. But we have to head to the bottom half of the 9th. Let's see if the Scouts can walk off with a victory here to end 2018. Jazz 7, Scouts likewise. As we head to the bottom half of the 9th here at Grady's Field, here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network.
I mean, Sandy 4 pitches and he threw over 8 Wednesday.
I don't know what Lester was thinking. Just put the new pitcher in.
He's out there for a reason. Why do you have him come all the way out here to pitch for us if you're not put him in when you need him?
I mean, seriously. Come on, dude. Really? Okay.
Lindsey, Murray, Chambers.
Oh. Is that what that was? I thought it was King. Oh, yeah, Lindsey. That's right.
Yeah.
Felix King got
Yeah. Probably should have updated that because it's not even
Good
close to
catch.
what it is.
Good catch. It's getting better in the bottom half of the 9th. I do not want to call extra innings on the final day of the season.
I concur.
Well, we didn't think that we would be heading to the bottom half of the 9th, but here we are. After the Jazz scored 2 runs in the top half of the 9th, we have a tie game, 7-7 between Richmond and Xenia. Here on the final day of the regular season, Jarrett Lindsey will lead things off against Richmond. Came in as a defensive replacement late for Felix King, who originally started at catcher. Pitch to Lindsey is taken for a strike. Riley Bertram still out there on the hill. Lindsey swings and sends a high fly ball out to center field. Ken Gott will give chase, and he will make the catch for the first out of the inning. So now Cam Murray will come to the plate. Cam's immediate job here is just to get on base because we know the wheels that he possesses. The pitch. Outside for a ball. As we mentioned in the top half of the inning, Jazz walked off with a 2-1 victory over the Scouts last night. How appropriate would it be for the Scouts to come right back at them with a walk-off win of their own here on the final day of the 2018 season? 1 ball, 1 strike. Murray waiting on the pitch from Bertram. Here it comes. Outside for a ball. 2-1 the count on the Youngstown State product, Cam Murray. He's been one of my favorite players to cover for the Scouts here in 2018. Just a good old-fashioned guy. So that pitch is outside for a ball. Really, they all have been good old-fashioned guys. To all the players that have played for Xenia this year, who took the time to talk with Riley and I during the course of the season as we were covering the team, thanks. Thanks for making our jobs easy. As that pitch is fouled off. Count now moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes on Cam Murray. Bertram back on the hill. The pitch. Murray swings and fouls it off to the right. Count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Chandler Chambers waits on deck for the Scouts. Cloudy day here in Xenia, but the Scouts are looking to leave the ballpark with a sunny disposition by the time it's all said and done. The pitch. Murray swings and misses. No, he actually fouled it. Murray just getting a piece of that ball. So we'll do it once again. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 9th. The pitch. This will be a high pop-up in foul territory. Krul is under it. He'll make the catch for the for the second out of the inning. Excuse me. So now we got the Chandler Chambers to keep this inning going for the Scouts, to give Xenia a chance to win this game in regulation innings. And you know what? I'll just be very truthful with you. With these two teams not in playoff position, with it being the final day of the season, I don't think either one of these teams wants to head into extra innings. As that pitch is fouled off to the right. I'm just giving you the God-honest truth. Chambers steps into the right-handed batter's box. Here's the pitch. Outside for a ball. 1-1 the count on Chandler. Now he too possesses great wheels, so his immediate job, like Murray's was a moment ago, was to just get on base. The pitch. Murray swings and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Murray. Or Chambers, excuse me. The pitch. Chambers swings and hits a grounder over to short. Bell up with it. Throw to first is in time. And in the final game of the 2018 season, we go to extras. Richmond 7, Scouts 7 as we head to the top half of the 10th here at Grady's Field. You're listening to Xenia Scouts Baseball here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Daniel Earls is the new pitcher on the mound for the Scouts. The left-hander, 6'5", 202-pound sophomore out of Denison University, native of Springboro, Ohio, will make an appearance here for the Scouts as we go to extra innings on the final day of the 2018 regular season. Scouts 7, Jazz likewise. Scouts were up by 2. They were 2 outs away from winning this game, but a balk by Thomas Flesser allowed the runner to come in from third. That tied up the game. The Scouts, meanwhile, went down 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the ninth. And, Riley, that is why we are here at this moment.
Yeah, very fatal mistake there by Flesser, dropping the ball with his foot on the mound, and that's what caused the balk that scored that run. And now the Scouts are going to have to do a little extra work and extra innings to get this win for the final game of the season.
This is Earl's second appearance of the year. His only other appearance came all the way back on July 19th, pitching an inning in 2/3 against Saginaw. No runs, no hits, no strikeouts, and 4 walks. So Earls comes on. Here's the pitch. And DeAndre Davis swings and misses at that one. Davis with two singles for the day. 0-1 the pitch. That is up high for a ball. Davis, Bell, and Young, the scheduled batters here for Richmond. Pitch is up high for a ball. You know, I've watched a lot of baseball. I have listened to a lot of baseball. What Flesser did in the top half of the ninth, I have never seen that happen in a game or heard that happen in a game, as that pitch is swung on and missed. I mean, that ball was he literally dropped the ball in the middle of his motion, and the runner was able to come in third. That's about as easy a balk call as you will see in a ball game.
Yeah, I'm sure the umpire was just as surprised as we are. Like you said, you don't see that too often, and Flesser just showed no sign of doing that ever. I mean, that was just very shocking. I'm at a loss for words at it.
2-2 or 3-2 pitch actually on the way to Davis. That's inside for a ball, and Davis walks. So Earls still a little rusty. Again, he only had 4 walks and only other appearance for the Scouts, and he immediately walks the leadoff man. I mean, this season has been tough for the Scouts as a whole. This was a team that lost at one point 21 of 22 games. As the pitch is in there for a strike. There's no other way to describe it. It would just be an absolute gut punch for the Scouts to lose this game into extra innings after being up by 2 in the 9th inning. The pitch, up high for a ball, 1-1 the count. This is a Scouts team that is not going to make the playoffs here in 2018. That, because of Licking County's loss today to Southern Ohio, will avoid being in the basement of the Southern Division, thank goodness. As this pitch is in there for a ball. But at the same time, Riley, you just like to end the season on a high note. You don't want to end this season with a loss, especially in your own home ballpark.
Yeah, you would like to end the season with a dub, like you said, end on a high note. And the Scouts have played so well up to this point. They've had one of their best offensive days that we've seen the past couple weeks. 7 runs, 10 hits. I mean, and it's been mixed out. You know, it's not just one guy getting 3 hits or so. It's been a little bit of everybody. Everybody's been pitching in on the hits. Everybody's been pitching on the RBIs. It's been a very good team effort offensively. It's just a shame right now that they're tied here in the top of the 10th.
2-2 pitch on the way to Bell. Grounder to short. 6, 4, 3, double play, and a nice scoop at that end by Luke Borelson. 2 gone in the inning. So now Nolan Young will come to the plate. Young with an RBI. Well, despite this game going into the extra innings, there's still a pretty good crowd here at Grays Field. They're wanting their hometown Scouts to bring home a win. Pitch is outside for a ball to Young. Earl's looking to get through this inning. Meanwhile, for the Scouts, it's going to be the heart of their order. Truman Brown, Luke Boylston, Ryan Bertelsmann, the Killer Bees. The 1-0. Grounder out to short. This should end the inning. Tuttle's throw to first in time, and that is the end of the inning. Jazz end up going down 1-2-3 in the top half of the 10th. We head to the bottom half of the 10th where the Scouts will have a chance to once again walk off with a victory. Jazz 7, Scouts 7 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Bottom of the 10th here at Grady's Field. Scouts tied with the Jazz at 7. The heart of their batting are coming up. Truman Brown, Luke Boylston, Ryan Burlesman, and if any of those guys reach, Graham Welch. So Brown will now come to the plate. Brown with an RBI sac fly his last time up, that coming back in the 7th inning. Alongside Riley Harshman, I'm Charlie Danis. Final game of the 2008 regular season for both the Jazz and the Scouts, two teams that will finish in the bottom half of the Southern Division. The pitch, inside for a ball. Riley Bertram still out there on the mound for the Jazz. Started as the third baseman, now out there on the mound. The pitch. Brown will take a ball down low. 2-0 the count on Truman Brown. We have seen him at third. We have seen him at catcher this year. Another good guy on this Scouts roster.
Truman's got a good hitter's count.
2-0 pitch. Pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. 2-1 the count on Brown.
Still like to see Brown be selective here. He's still got a favorable hitter's count. Got to make Bertram throw him a good pitch.
Pitch down low for a ball, so now it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count for Truman Brown. Waiting on deck for the Scouts is Luke Boylston. (3-1). This will be a liner caught by the second baseman Turner. One gone in the inning. So now Luke Boylston will come to the plate. All the way back in the first inning, he got the Scouts off to a nice start with a 2-run homer over the left center field wall. He started this game with a bang. He has a chance to end this game with a bang, as that pitch is in there for a strike. Since then, Boylston has struck out 3 times since that 2-run homer. Boylston swings and lifts a high fly ball out to right field, but he'll stay in the park. Blevins is under it. He'll make the catch. 2 gone. Right. So now the batter will be Ryan Bertelsman. Pitches down low for a ball. Just putting this out there, Bertelsman still has yet to hit a homer this year. Pitch down low for a ball. 2-0 the count on the Scouts. Designated hitter. 2 on here in the bottom of the 10th. 7-7 game between the Jazz and the Scouts. Inside. 2-1 the count now on Bertelsman. Three balls, 2 strikes. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That pitch is outside. Bertelsmann with a walk. 2-out base runner for the Scouts. And we know Ryan Bertelsmann possesses quite the set of wheels. So there's some hope here for Xenia, as Graham Welch will now come to the plate. Welch had a double back in the 6th inning. An RBI double, as a fact, and he drove home Bertelsmann in that bottom of the 6th. Could we see something similar here?
I think you absolutely have to put Bertelsmann in motion as soon as you can.
Pitch is down low for a ball. Bertelsmann stays put at first for right now. Pitch is down low, 1-0 the count.
The sooner you get Bertelsmann in motion, the quicker Welch can bring him in. So got to think Bertelsmann, at least these next 2 pitches will be moving over to second.
Welch swings and a grounder to first. Krul will take it over to first, and that's the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, and a man left on base for the Scouts. We play on. We head to the top half of the 11th here at Grady's Field. 7-7 game between the Jazz and the Scouts here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. We head to the top half of the 11th. Yes, you heard that right. Top half of the 11th here at Grady's Field. Jazz and Scouts tied at 7. Once again, Daniel Earls out on the mound for the Scouts. And now we get to see Bill Krul. Once again, the pitch. Inside for a ball to Krul. Krul has flied out. He's popped out to first. He has grounded out to short. He has walked, and he's also struck out looking. Pitch is outside. 2-0 the count to Krul. Earls with a 2-0. Krul swings and misses. 2-1 the count on the Jazz first baseman.
And the positive about having Earls on the mound is the Jazz don't know too much about Earls, and neither do we. So, with that little bit of mystery, that could really help the Scouts keep having scoreless innings here in extras.
3 balls, 1 strike on Krul after a pitch inside. Blevins waiting on deck for Richmond. The pitch. Swung and fouled at the plate. 3 balls, 2 strikes now on Krul. Krul, Blevins, and Maynard scheduled batters this inning for the Jazz. Well, I guess you could say this. Both teams have played hard today. These are 2 teams that are not going to be making the playoffs this year. So if you're looking for a positive coming out of this extra game, these 2 teams played hard in a game that really didn't matter from a playoff standpoint. As that pitch is down low and Krul earns himself a walk. Still nobody out here in the top half of the 11th. And you know what, Riley? I'll say it again. It's pretty refreshing to see that, Richmond could have just mailed it in. Top half of the 9th, swung at everything that they saw, but, they battled back for those 2 runs of the top half of the 9th. Credit to them for continuing to play hard.
Yeah, it shows how much both these teams want to win, even though that the game doesn't really mean much. They're playing for pride, and pride is a huge thing amongst all athletes, especially baseball players. You don't ever want to go out there and lose, so it's great to see them not giving up.
The pitch to Blevins. Bunt attempt, foul down the third base line. Blevins on the day has walked. He's fouled out to third. He has struck out swinging. He's popped out to second. He's also doubled and scored. 2-0 pitch. And missing on the bunt attempt was Blevins. 2-2 the count on the Jazz right fielder. Earl sets and fires. And the curveball misses. 3-2 the count. The pitch misses. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So it's a full count on Blevins. Waiting on deck is Maynard. Earl sets at the belt. Here comes the payoff pitch. Down low, it's a walk. And this has not been a good start for Earl to begin this frame as he's walked the first 2 batters that he has seen. Maynard will now come to the plate. He scored a couple times. He's 2 for 3 on the day with a double.
This is also a prime bunt situation. No outs, men on first and second. See a bunt. We could see a bunt here. Try to move those guys to second and third and see the Jazz lineup try to get those guys in.
Bunt down the third base line. Earl slips. Everybody is safe.
No.
Still nobody out here in the top half of the 11th. So now Jared Kengott comes to the plate. I heard a stat on, of all things, a Yankees television broadcast while watching the Yankees take on the Royals on MLB Network the other day. Teams, at least at the major league level, when they load the bases with nobody out, as Earls delivers, and this is a swing into center field. Teams score 84% of the time. Murray catches it, throws in, and that'll be an RBI sac fly for Jared Kengott as the Jazz go back up 8-7.
On the bright side, Earl's got an out that he desperately needed. Now he's got guys on first and second. He's got an out. He needs to try to keep these balls low, try to produce a ground ball, get out of this inning with only 1 run crossing.
So now Bertram will come to the plate. You know what was crazy, by the way, when they said that stat during the Yankees broadcast? So, and I had never seen this. The Yankees loaded the bases with nobody out. And whoever was the batter, I forget who was the batter, hit a little squibber at home plate. It was just fair. As this pitch is hit over to second, throw to first will be in time for the second out. That turned out to be a double play as got the force at home and the strikeout, and the batter tagged out at the plate after the ground out right in front of home plate. Another fly ball out to the outfield for the Yankees. Didn't score a single run in that inning.
It's that broadcaster's jinx when you'll hear like football games, oh, this kicker's made 24 straight field goals and they miss that very next field goal. It's just a little jinx that sometimes broadcasters put on athletes.
Pitch is up high for a ball. Oh, geez. I'm sure Vikings fans after all these years are saying that same thing about what happened to Gary Anderson that year that the Vikings were a game away from playing in the Super Bowl, but they lost in overtime to the Atlanta Falcons. 95 was that? It was somewhere in the mid-90s. That was Randy Moss's rookie year. Randy Moss going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year, by the way. 2-0 pitch. That is swung on a miss. You're by Austin Turner. So an 8-7 lead for the Jazz. The Scouts will have at least one more chance. Coming up here in the bottom half of the 11th. Earls with the pitch. Here's a fly ball out to right field. Under his chambers, he'll make the catch. That'll be the final out of the inning. Well, one more chance for the boys from Xenia. As we head to the bottom half of the 11th, it is Richmond 8, Xenia 7 here on the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. Bottom half of the 11th here at Grady. RBI sack is taken for a ball by Nick Tuttle. Tuttle, Bills, and Lindsay, the scheduled batters for the Scouts this frame. That pitch is outside for a ball. 2-0 the count on Tuttle. The pitch, outside. 3-0 the count on Tuttle. Again, you really have to wonder where the fatigue factor is for Burt. The pitch, way outside. Tuttle walks on 4 straight pitches, and instantly the Scouts put the potential tie run on base. The potential go-ahead run, he's coming to the plate, that being Ben Bills. Product of Nyack College. As the Scouts look to put together a rally here in the bottom of the 11th.
And Tuttle's got some pretty good wheels over there at first. He's got 10 stolen bases on the year for the Scouts. Got to think you got to try to put him in motion, try to put him in scoring position, at least tie this game up.
A first pitch strike to Ben Bills. 0-1 the count on the Scouts' second baseman. Next pitch. Another strike as Bills pulled back a bunt attempt, but it was on the outside corner for a strike. No balls, 2 strikes on Ben Bills. Waiting on deck is Jarrett Lindsay. The runner at first, meanwhile, is Nick Tuttle. The pitch, outside. Count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, this game keeps going. Pretty soon they're going to have to turn the lights on here at Grady's Field. Right now they're not on. Tuttle running. Grayson up the middle. Right to the second baseman who gets the force out at second. Then the throw to first is in time. Boy, that is just plain old bad luck for the Scouts right there as the ball was hit to Turner as Turner was about to cover second on the stolen base attempt. Turner for the Fields gets the force out at second, throw to first in time, and all of a sudden the Scouts are down to their final out of the game.
That was just a very unfortunate grounder, as you said. Just Bells pretty much led the receiver there for that grounder. Second baseman was able to corral it, tag the bag, and get the throw over to first. That was just very unfortunate placement of that grounder.
Jarrett Lindsay, the batter, and he will take a curveball for a strike. Next pitch. It's in their first strike as well, and just like that, the Scouts are down to potentially their final strike of 2018. Lindsay steps back in. Welcome with a pitch. Lindsay with a ground ball out to short. Bell up with it. Throw to first in time. And that is your ball game. So the 2018 season ends in disappointment for the Scouts as they fall here in their final home game at Grady's Field by a final of 8-7 in 11 innings. Riley and I will be back to wrap things up here in Xenia after this. We're back here at Grady's Field. Unfortunately for the Scouts, they're not able to end 2018 on a high note as they fall to the Richmond Jazz 8-7 in 11 innings. Alongside Riley Bertram, I'm Charlie Danis. Well, Riley, man, the Scouts got off to a great start with that two-run homer by Luke Boylston. We saw one of their better offensive performances of the year. But the Jazz are able to battle back. They score 2 runs in the top half of the ninth, 1 run coming on a balk by Thomas Flesser, and then an RBI sac fly in the top half of the last quarter. And then the Scouts, they just weren't able to piece together enough hits. This is, pretty disappointing for the Scouts in that they were wanting to set their fans out on a winning note, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
I guess it wasn't. They had a very good offensive day with the 10 hits, 7 runs. And, it was a mix of everybody. Everyone was getting their licks in. Everybody was getting some hits. Felix King, who's been struggling, got a couple hits, got an RBI. I mean, we saw plenty of guys get a hit today. We saw very good things offensively from the Scouts. It's just very unfortunate that they couldn't contain their lead.
So the winning pitcher will be Riley Bertram. He ends the year with the Jazz with a record of 2-0. Meanwhile, Daniel Earls, he's the hard luck loser for the Scouts today as his record drops to 0-1. Well, Riley, again, thank you so much for helping me out with Xenia Scouts baseball this year. It was a pleasure calling games with you. Here in 2018, the final score from Grady's Field. It is Richmond 8, Xenia 7 in 11 innings. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us all season long for Xenia Scouts baseball here on the Xenia Scouts